Josh,
you've kind of been hearing a little bit.
Yeah, I'll blow him out. I listen, Max.
Yeah. you are earmogging me, if we're being honest.
That's true.
I've been earmogged actually for the last 2 months.
I like to hear myself very clearly.
I
don't like to guys. I have a tendency to like talk too loudly, I think, and so when I can hear myself at a normal volume, it
kind of
I allow myself to not use so much energy when I'm speaking.
Sure. Do you find yourself having more energy now during the morning show because you're not the only host anymore, or is it kind of balanced out by the lack of sleep?
That's it.
Okay. So you kind of you feel kind of the same.
Time is a flat circle.
Yeah. Okay. Totally. Yeah. Are you on a nap cycle right now, or you strike me as kind of an anti-nap
guy? Works too much
type of guy.
Every day's a little different.
Yeah.
I would like to most days, but then you got to manage how long it is. Most of the days I won't though.
I don't nap anymore. I've actually found that napping is probably more detrimental to me than it was beneficial.
It could be. It's very possible.
And I also find myself that
you say this as a sick person right now.
Yeah, I think this is just. I haven't been sick in 4 years though, so I think this has kind of just run its course. Like this was coming. I was getting
nothing you could have done.
I was getting cocky. I was getting real cocky. I was getting real comfortable being like, I haven't been sick since 2021. It's been awesome. I was bragging when Rink Mass got sick. I was bragging to people about my sick remedy and like what I did.
I remember this.
Emergency and Ricolas and Advil. I needed to get slapped in the face. Like I needed to be mogged. But I needed to be.
You're mogged by sickness.
I needed to be virus mogged. I needed to be. I'm currently sick maxing right now. So it's one of those things.
No, I actually subscribe to what you're saying.
This needed to happen for me to be like, all right, I need to wash my hands more. I need to take care of myself.
Yeah, but getting worn down is a key starting point to illness, sickness.
Yeah, probably.
So taking naps, in theory, would help you not get as worn down.
I lay down, like if I lay down in my bed to take a nap.
See, but that's the key. You cannot nap in bed.
I couldn't agree more.
Ever go to bed.
I couldn't agree more.
Never go to bed.
That's why I sometimes take naps here in the office in my chair. And people
that could do it.
People go.
The lights are a little too harsh in here.
Sometimes I go in Josh's office.
That's better.
And I go ahead and I do it there.
Nick won't let us have harsh light.
Correct. Nick likes lamps only. He lamp maxes.
I did. Josh gets lamp mogged every single day.
I gotta stop.
It's fine. I don't have a preference.
Mr. Mog over there. Mr. Maxing.
Yeah, I really gotta stop.
There's actually already a Mr. Max in Nebraska, so you can't do that.
Mr. Max, what do you mean by that?
There's isn't there like a David Max or something like that? There's a guy in media.
We just dox some people now.
Oh, the Husker Max.
Max guy, yeah.
Yeah, I think his name is.
That's a guy.
Mr. Max.
Husker Max is a guy.
Yeah, his name isn't Husker. But...
What did I name my kid? Husker McMaster.
I actually don't even know that his name is Max, but maybe he goes by.
Seen him around.
Okay. I don't know.
Okay,
it's possible.
I don't know either. But anyway,
sorry.
I could. I don't think I doxed the guy. I think it's very
I didn't know who he was.
Yeah, I've seen the 2 times that I've seen him. People have been like, "That's Mr. Max." I'm like, "Oh,
really?
Yeah, it's happened twice."
A small hush.
He literally goes over the crowd.
Yeah,
that's Mr. Max.
Whoa.
Right there. I think Caleb would know. Anyway, what if I name a kid Husker McMaster?
That'd be bad.
Yeah,
that'd be a bad name.
Is there a?
I already think it's bad enough when people name their dog Husker.
That's tough.
How is that? So how would you even think about naming a child that?
But what would be a Husker themed kid's name? Like what? I mean, you can't name your kid Scott anymore in honor of that. That's kind of tough.
No.
I mean, I could name my kid Matt and be like, it's in honor of Matt Rule, even though it's probably in honor of me.
The big boss is
boss
here.
Man.
The big
Come up here.
The big boss is here.
You gotta congratulate me.
First, I gotta square you away. It's David Max.
Thank you. That's what I said.
Finally,
where does he live?
Person.
Grand Island?
No.
Where does he live?
California.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
He lives in California, and he actually started Huskerpedia.
Okay.
Which is now turned into Husker Max.
There you go.
Any other questions there, Matt? I can help
No,
you out.
I was asking Connor. This is
I'm,
all
I'm
Connor.
responsible for this.
Are you the one that started down the
I
tunnel?
knew him. I know him. I was showing him respect.
Now, wait a minute. Matt picks one horse last week, and now he knows everything. Have
I
we
do.
picked up
I
on
do.
that yet?
Yeah, I do know
All
everything.
right.
You
all right.
you texted me the night before and said, "Let me know what horses you like, so I know which ones not to bet."
That is
what
true.
you told me.
However, I'm going to say this, Matt. I don't know if a $10 bet counts as a bet.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
it
Alan.
was 25-1. He was 37-1 when it opened up on Tuesday. It went down to 25.
But like
That was
$10 is the new dollar, right?
You know, I made a clerical error. I texted you that I was going to
You've
bet
been
15 on
mobbed.
him.
You've been
I
mobbed.
did
That's
text
true.
you I was going to
That's
put
true.
15 on him, and I wussed out.
Good old hindsight.
It is good old hindsight. Would have had another $100 on it.
All right, I'm out of here, but I had to square you
appreciate
guys
that.
away.
Good
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you, Alan. We appreciate that. That is great. You have been mobbed.
I've been mogged. I've been boss mogged.
Boss mogged. After previously
Boss
getting
mogged.
pre-happer mogged.
Yeah,
Before that.
I just got horse maxed
For
right,
the
right there.
same exact reason.
I actually horse minimumed. I didn't horse max enough. If I did more horse maxing, I wouldn't have been mogged.
That is true. That is true.
Do
You
you
should
fe-
have done more.
Do you
horse
feel
maxing.
validated now that our boss has shamed me for not betting enough? After you shamed me for not betting enough?
No, I was confident in my shaming.
Okay.
The play there, Matt, though, was now if I had more income, I could bet more than $10.
Yeah, that guy's
No.
in charge of the whole thing.
Yeah.
God dang it. I
Missed
need
opportunity.
the salary
You
max.
can't re-rack it.
I'm not salary maxing enough.
That's true.
I just got poor mogged.
That is also true.
See, now I'm killing the bit.
I did not know about David.
Ha! Husker
Mr.
Alex goes, David Max mogged by David Max maxed.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. Didn't know he lived in California. I probably have seen the guy before.
I'm telling you, the two times he was around,
Huskerpedia.
there was a hush over the crowd. There was like, he's there.
Oh,
Does Huskerpedia have a good log of all of the special teams mistakes?
Oh,
oh yeah, I heard
Schaefer-
you were efforting that today.
Yes, Shaver and I's new summer. We don't know exactly how we're going to package it yet, but we are going to make quite the extensive list of all of the horrible atrocities that
Sure.
have happened on special teams.
can I actually say something on that I'm disliking what's happening on Twitter?
Oh, is it about John Bishop?
No, it's not about John Bishop. We'll
Oh,
get to that later.
You're here to support John Bishop?
I'm here to talk. I will talk about John Bishop at some point.
Are you here to support other people hating on John Bishop?
No, no. I'm not
Okay.
supporting that at all.
All right.
What I was going to say is I hate the vague posting on Twitter, but now my least favorite thing on Twitter is an account will retweet another new account and be like, this is a must follow. This is,
Yeah.
look at this account. It repost all of the niche college football players.
No,
that
that's
you
why I got
forgot
mad
about.
at the this dude rocks thing.
Yeah. Like it's just like
It's a
this,
plant.
This is a good. They're totally plants.
It's a
These
plant.
are like people who are being paid to promote these other accounts and stuff like that. Like it's
Absolutely
a lot of sneaky things are happening. I hate that trend of all of a sudden accounts that I actually like going, this is a must follow for any college basketball fan.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like anything is ever organic anymore.
Mm.
And I also feel like even if it was, it would stop being organic like very shortly after because a sports book would come in and buy all
Yeah.
of its content.
Mhm.
That's I think
Nothing is real.
I think some of those accounts that are like the trolling joke accounts, like I imagine they've been sold. Probably, like I
Definitely.
don't think that some of the like the Dove Kleinman account or the ML football account.
100%.
They've
There was a whole
definitely-
big story about the Dove thing. Yeah.
that he sold it.
Well,
or
there
that it
was there
sold or
was an
yeah.
original guy, and someone came in and bought it, and there was some either disputes about it. I can't remember exactly
That
what
doesn't
what happened, but I mean, it's one of the dumbest Twitter accounts I've ever
we
seen.
definitely are in the age of like things are awesome when they're organic, and then they very quickly just stop being that. As soon as they peak, and then it's just done. They sell out.
It's crazy.
Like John Krasinski during COVID, he did the good news thing,
yes,
and everybody loved it because it was just him in his room, like, hey, this sucks.
and then
but-
what happened?
And then he sold it to CBS, and they did nothing with it.
They put it on CBS, I think, like
Yeah,
one time.
yeah.
Like
I
he
don't-
showed up
I-
on Good Morning America.
I don't think
and that was it.
We are in because I'm reading about the 90s. Like selling out was like
Oh,
don't-
that was a huge insult in the 90s.
You don't do that in the
Yeah.
90s. You don't. If you sell out, you're done.
Yeah,
Like,
if
you're a
you're
loser.
not selling out, you're not maxing.
You're getting mogged. Actually,
You're getting mogged.
if you're not like selling out, actually has become the norm.
I feel like I'm getting mogged. I'm not. I'm only selling out a little bit.
It used to be like, whoa, that's a celebrity in
Do
a
you think-
commercial. Like that's a huge
Right.
deal.
Do you
Now
think
it's
you're
common.
not? Do you think you're not sellout maxing?
I'm absolutely not sellout maxing.
Yeah.
I could way sell out more than I am right now.
Whoa.
I think you need to be in a position to sell out, and I don't think I'm in a position yet to sell out.
Oh
and
no, you could sell out.
you think I could sell out right now?
I could find a way for you to sell out. Yeah.
I would love to have a crossover where you lay out all of my opportunities to sell out. I don't think I could
Well,
sell out for enough right now.
It just starts with, I mean, really, it's a very simple process. You just start a podcast.
Yeah, you do. And you start peddling
And
propaganda.
that creates a lot of avenues for you to peddle stamps on the American people.
Honestly,
And do really good thumbnails.
if you honestly have no shame, you can find plenty of I don't want to say success, but if you have no shame, you can get numbers.
1,000,000%.
If you
Yes.
there's a way to numbers max through no shame.
I always tell people, like, if I really wanted to, I could be the worst person on YouTube tomorrow.
I agree.
Mhm.
I completely agree.
the guy,
I
the
completely agree.
the Ditman guy, who's
Wilson, yeah.
yeah, I could be way worse than him if I wanted to, but I don't. I don't, because I like to say things that I mean.
Yeah, but then you definitely, if you were worse than that, you would definitely be on an island. Like you immediately isolate.
100%, but it's
You
getting
know.
clicks, so it doesn't matter. That's what that's
Until
what
it does,
selling out is.
Well, but until it doesn't, until it's the point where it's just like
I
done.
bought the island that it put me on.
exactly.
I
100%.
would love for you to out Wilson Ditman. That would be.
I don't
really
want
entertaining.
to do that.
I
And
know,
I'm not
but I
going
think,
to.
But Connor, do you know how funny that would be?
It'd be a great bit,
It'd be a great bit.
and I do love bits.
You are good. You are great at bit max.
I do bit max. Yeah,
Right now, you're getting bit mogged. If we're being honest.
yeah. People are doing bits better.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What's a bit you're enjoying right now?
Oh yeah. What's your favorite bit? Do you have a favorite bit right now?
There's just so many at once.
There's a lot of bits going on in the morning show.
bits and running jokes are kind of the same thing.
9 was a pretty good bit today.
Nine.
Nine's been it's
a lot
been a
of
good.
Joey Nine.
I think your best bit right now is just the sim of the day.
Oh yeah,
It's just
we've
become
really kept that going. with
I
baseball.
love that thing.
dude, that thing has become like your dog of the day. You know, you just have an ending. All right, we are going to do this no matter what. We will not forget. You need an intro for sim of the day.
Oh, we do. Yeah, we were actually toying around with another idea today to do for the end of the show. The special teams thing was maybe we'll end up doing that.
do,
during the
yeah.
summer.
Well, after the regionals are laid out,
You can just
what will you sim?
Great question.
college football playoff.
I don't know.
I mean, that's a
Is-
lot of college football.
is there a
sims,
website
yeah.
I've or you could sim the Kentucky Derby.
Oh, for next year,
Yeah.
the one where the horse is going to
Or
run
you,
backwards.
or you can you can redo the Kentucky Derby sims. What
Hmm.
were the different results of the Derby potentially?
I bet you've been doing that a lot.
You know what? I'm waiting for a Preakness sim because I was simming the Kentucky Derby a lot, and I actually do think the sims helped me bet because I got a good layout of what the field was going to look like after the first quarter mile.
Interesting.
I was like, "Where's the field going to be?" You know, typically the top finishers of the Kentucky Derby after the quarter mile, they're typically like in double-digit places.
Couple ideas. Plaquette says WNBA sim of the day.
No, thank you.
Okay.
I know Plaquette.
Okay.
Okay, that he's a sicko.
I asked, and I might embarrass myself here, but you know, Tina Charles, you know who Tina Charles is? She's an 8-time WNBA All-Star. Like she leads the league in career rebounds and everything like
So,
that.
mhm.
Yeah. She retired, and I was like, this woman has not been marketed enough. Like I've barely heard of who she was, and she was one of the best WNBA players ever.
She's cursed with generic name syndrome.
I was just
Absolutely.
You can't remember it.
I mean, Caitlin Clark is pretty regular
Yeah.
though.
like, super.
She's
See how many Caitlins I've met in my suburbia life? A lot.
dude.
And my little
I think 40% of the female population is Caitlin or Katie.
Okay.
How many Katies are there?
I can name you
I think
like
like 4 of my wife's best friends are named
I
Katie.
can name you 7 Kates, Katies, or Catherines that I am legitimately friends with that are staples of my life. 7 of them. in some sort of
Too
order.
many Katies.
I've met so many Kates, Katies, and Catherines.
Sindelar has another idea for the last segment. Just play The Sims. Now that sounds fun.
Ooh.
I never played The Sims. I was never into it. That was never my game.
Right past your time.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
It was just fading when I was
SimCity?
just coming in. No, never did it.
Yeah, you could build a whole city. You could turn it into whatever you want. You could sell out.
What was the farm game you were really into on Facebook?
Well, I wasn't really into it, but it was Farmville.
Yeah.
And it
you know, my
was
generation
a
got
ve-
into farm simulators.
a moment in time. Yeah, I've heard about the farm simulators and the lawn mowing simulators. I've even seen a truck driving simulator.
The truck driving simulator is a big one
because
right
they
now.
stream them.
They do.
and they clip the stuff.
But
and-
some people get into crashes and pretend that they're a part of the crash on the stream. And so, like, the thing is the guy driving a car, and then he's like,
good,
you know, he's
decent
jumping.
bit. I
Yeah,
guess.
it's, you know what, it got really popular for a good month and a half, and then I haven't seen the guy since. I don't know if he's I don't know if he's bit maxed. I don't know if he's created any new bits out of that bit.
Yeah, I think you would have liked. You could still play. You could do SimCity right now.
I'm
you
okay.
Might, you might enjoy it.
I'm fine.
Do you like when you play a video game? Do you still play video games?
I do, but not really on my own.
Do you? Okay, so you like to play against other people.
I'm
You
with-
like an arcade style.
Yeah, I'm with other people.
Yeah. See, I like to play by myself and like build a thing. You know?
Do you go on you play Minecraft for like 2 or 3
No,
weeks?
I never have played Minecraft. in
You've
my life.
never played Minecraft?
Never
That is
touched
the
the thing.
point of Minecraft.
I
is
don't touch
building
the
new things.
stuff.
It's pretty good. It's a pretty good game.
I believe you. And there was a lot of people around me who, you know, it was sort of like, you know, walls were closing in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I never played Minecraft.
Wow. That's pretty impressive,
Yeah.
actually. The fact that you never made a crafting table or, you know, chopped down wood or
I don't even
anything
know what
like
that is.
Yeah,
No.
it's a pretty sick game.
I just watched but I have watched the South Park episode of the Minecraft.
So you're a
It's
single
great.
player video game guy.
Yeah.
And you love it.
I much prefer it that way.
Do you find it therapeutic?
I don't know. I
Okay.
like to just start building something, take a day off, and
Yeah.
then come back and build it further.
Good for you.
know? Whether it be an actual thing that you're building on the game or like a season in college football or Major League Baseball.
I don't play video games unless I'm playing with other people now. I've done so much of my life of playing the single game video thing
Mm.
where it's just like, if I don't have friends that are on, like if I'm not playing NASCAR, I'm not playing like NBA 2K, whatever, with a bunch of people, I don't really play video games anymore. I don't know. Maybe I'm growing up. You know, some people never stop playing video games, and then they become the coach of the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and they don't even drop it in that regard either.
Wait, that was who are you talking about? Be specific.
Scott.
Frost.
Yes.
Mm.
Is there another Scott that was the head coach of Nebraska?
No, I don't think there has been.
We haven't repeated names, have we?
Oh.
We haven't had a repeating name Nebraska football head coach.
Bill Callahan, Bill Jennings.
Yeah.
Oh, dang it.
Nailed it.
Great job.
By the way, I'm going to regret this, but I'm going to acknowledge Gin Rummy.
Oh, you're gonna
That's a
do
good
it?
one. It's a good one. It's a good comment.
Also, a sports talk radio sim where people who don't understand sports talk about sports. Oh, wait, it's this. You are all the sim.
What does it say about you for watching The Sim?
Gin Rummy is very new. He has come in and he's trying to get in on the mogging
Mhm.
of John Bishop.
Oh.
John Bishop hate maxing is going on today.
It's gin rummy?
That's what it looks like to me.
I
What,
thought
what
the-
did you think the game was called?
Jim rummy.
Okay.
All right.
I didn't know it was gin
Now
rummy.
we've gotten somewhere.
I
We're
was
talking.
I for my entire life I've called it Jim Rummy.
Hmm.
I've never called it gin rummy.
Really?
Yeah, my mom. I've loved playing it growing up. When my mom was pregnant, she would always play gin rummy.
What is it? What is it? Is that Rummy Cube? Is it the same thing?
It's basically you're just trying to collect like 4 of the same card. and it's a
so
two-player
it's
game.
different.
Yeah. I did not know it was gin, as in the drink. I looked at the guy's name. I was like, oh, is he kind of like doing a max up? You know, is he mixing it up a little bit?
Okay.
Is he like doing a? No, that's the name of the game.
This seems completely irrelevant now, but Nebraska football has had 2 Franks as its head coach.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. There was 2 Williams.
Okay, Frank Solich and
Frank Crawford from 1893 to 1894.
Okay.
A couple of Williams in there.
Yeah.
A couple of 3 Bills.
3 Bills.
Yeah. Bill Glassford, 49
That's
to 55.
right. Nice, good job.
I believe that to be all
They
the
had
repeats.
well, if Dana Holgerson ends up being the head coach one day,
Yep.
you go Dana Holgerson, Dana X Bible.
Uh-huh.
I don't think he'll end up.
Why not? He couldn't be the interim if,
No,
it happens.
I don't think that.
Why would you advocate for that publicly? On the
I
radio?
wouldn't. How dare you negative max? Stop negative maxing.
I would never say anything like that. Ever. Definitely don't make T-shirts about it.
I'm going to be real with you. I thought the guy on the left looked a little bit like me.
What if we found out?
Were you worried or
I was
excited?
a little worried. I
So-
was like, "Am I that big?"
So the guys who made the shirts, I know them, and I wonder if John is like getting a cut. You know,
Wait, are those real?
No chance.
Those aren't.
John's not, but
Those aren't AI.
I wonder if I can get a cut.
Those aren't AI. You can actually buy that.
Yeah, I mean they make shirts. That's a shirt company.
I want.
My Dana Holgerson shirt.
Yeah,
they made that.
But I'm saying they legitimately made those.
Now I don't know if they've actually made them yet, or if they're available for purchase. But a mock-up is out there.
Can I be real with you? I feel like if you buy that, that's like you're a fan. You know, you're supporting. That's more of like a support thing.
Supporting John Bishop.
Yeah, a little bit.
Even the shirt that says "Bleep John Bishop."
Yes. I would buy that and I would wear that. I think that'd be so funny.
Okay, it would be fun.
It would be awesome.
We could probably get you one.
What if we all just got Bleep John Bishop shirts and wore them all the time? Screw having jerseys. Screw having jerseys for the College World Series. Our official outfit is the "All My Homies Hate John Bishop."
It would go over very well in the message board community.
They're embracing it. They're mogging us. We'd be mogging them by buying the shirts.
No, I hope they don't feel mogged. I hope they wouldn't feel mogged.
Everybody can get mogged.
Everybody can get mogged. I just hope they, I wouldn't want them to feel mogged. That's the last thing you want to feel. Mogged.
Have you ever felt mogged before?
Yeah, absolutely. People do stuff better than me all the time.
Yeah, I haven't felt mogged in quite some time.
All right.
I haven't.
Really?
Yeah, no.
Nobody's mogged you?
I've been unmoggable, is what it really's come down to.
Wow.
I've just been. You can't mog me.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
Do you know how to face max?
I'm sure it's just
you
like a look.
You got to
They take you off of YouTube for that, right?
face maxing.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
No, that's looks max.
Looks maxing.
Yeah. That's the one they take you off of
Mogging is where you
YouTube for.
put your tongue at the top of your mouth and it kind of it moves in your cheek muscles. No, not like that. Not like
camera. So this is good.
It moves in your cheek muscles a little bit and it makes your jawline, more stronger.
I need to do that because I don't have a jawline. That's why I have a beard.
Me too. That's what I've learned, man. People tell me all the time, they're like, you look so much better with the beard. It's like, because I don't have a jawline.
Good point.
Add to it.
From Husker Alex, Michael mogged you yesterday on the radio talking
I
about
was
talent.
not getting mogged.
You guys were trying to mog each other.
How were you? Were you having fun watching him live yelling at me through the phone?
So I was driving down the road and I literally as I was going by Indian Creek, he was like, it was right at the start of the interview. He was like, I'm about to go to this tasting in Indian Creek. What do you got? Like, let's go. And I'm like, this is awesome, first of all. And I'm going to go find it.
Do you know why? That was the start? Because he did the thing that really annoys me, where he complains about how I say Creighton.
I remember that.
And I don't.
I was listening.
It's a very easy way to annoy me.
Okay, should we get to the bottom of it? Are you not capable?
Clearly, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
I can't say comfortable very well.
That was pretty good.
Great.
That was really good. That was perfect.
People get, I don't know, because people are like, you don't say it right. And then I go Creighton. And then they're like,
trying too hard.
And they're like, you're trying too hard.
You're
like,
mogging yourself.
Exactly. I don't know. I'm self-mogged.
Yeah.
So at that
Creighton.
point, I just don't care. Creighton.
Yeah.
Creighton.
Mm-mm.
See, what's the difference? I can't tell the difference.
You didn't see the difference
The
in that?
second he thinks about it, it's over.
Yeah. The second one, the last one right there, you said Creighton. That was wrong. Do you see how that's wrong?
Creighton.
That's also wrong.
Creighton.
Closer.
I don't know the difference between what's
Anyway,
happening.
I did, and then I did a couple laps around the parking lot. I was like, I don't know what Michael drives. Turns out he's at the Equinox with the bucket seats. And
it was an SUV.
I actually don't know
Okay.
what it was, but yeah, it was like a smaller SUV. And I drove up to him, and he was just not going to come off of yelling at you.
No, no.
I thought there was going to be a whole thing where I parked next to him, and then he showed the camera, and I was going to talk too, and
No.
whatever. He was not coming off of yelling at you.
See, every time we have a Michael interview, we get at least one email or one text like concerned about us,
and probably every other time you talk to Sipple, the same thing happens where people think you're yelling at each other.
Yeah, it's okay,
but you're actual friends with these people, and you're just
that's how we talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how Sipple and I talk to each other. Sipple and I do not do we do not interview.
It's almost as if the public has no idea what's going on.
No.
Interesting. That's weird.
So with like people get concerned about Michael and I'm like, this is I don't think I'd be friends with Michael if we didn't communicate like this. Like it's almost as if Michael's not entertained if you're normal.
Yeah, it's the way some people go about their business.
You know, same thing.
I received many texts from Michael a week about things that I've said that are wrong or funny or ideas or food related. It's all great.
See, the only time Michael texts me about food related stuff is when he thinks I have a bad take. That's the only time where he's like, that's terrible.
He's never sent me a bad take text.
He loves you. He loves you so much. He's like, you might be one of his favorite people.
I love him.
Many people love Josh.
I know, it sucks.
It's weird.
What do you mean it sucks?
I'm joking. It was like, oh, I always get Josh is always mogging me. Josh mogs me all the time.
Well, he's not even trying, though.
I know. That's what makes the mog suck. That's what makes it even worse. So, all righty.
Okay.
That was fun.
It was.
Appreciate you.
I liked it.
Are you at least going to nap today?
Yeah, are you? You've done a lot, man. Hey, great call, by the way.
We'll see.
I want to say, great call. Great job.
Thank you.
Good job. Appreciate you.
Thank
I
you.
listened to you on 1180 yesterday in the first 2 innings of the game. It was great.
1180.
Not
Yacht Rock.
Not kind of our partners over there at Creighton to just let Putney swoop in and have a call like that and use that instead of churning out their own broadcast.
Interesting. I talked.
That's my opinion. Not
talked
Connor's.
to our social people last night. I was like, you want to, because they have a little device where they jam it in there and they can get our call right away. They're like, And I was like, all right, that's fair. They're like, yeah, we can get the TV. I'm like, all right, sweet.
That's the crossovers
Works for me.
powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair at everlevelconcrete.com.
Got mogged.
It's gonna be a fun episode of Middays coming up next here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
That's an absolutely horse crap call. Make room for Daddy. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Chicago is.
This is Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays Matt live and roll here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network. Matt McMaster is always joined by Josh Odson. I love our intro. I think our intro's great.
I like it.
It's
good.
phenomenal.
You did a good job with it.
Well, you placed the key of the intro in there for me. You're the one who came up with the idea with our very inspirational, my guy Phil Brooks, saying I have a lot of things that I want to get off my chest, which sometimes the show delves into. Sometimes it is just a lot of me getting things off my chest. Other times we're an informational program. We're letting everybody know what may be happening in and around sports across the country, or sports here in Omaha, or sports in Lincoln, or whatever it might be. We're just gonna address it right off the top here. Okay, it was a very entertaining day yesterday on Twitter.
That's the word you'd use. Huh?
I don't know. It was an interesting day on Twitter. With our very own John Bishop now being made shirts that say all my homies don't F with John Bishop, and the what is it, the what did it say, low signal, high negativity, or something like that. I just want to make a quick observation about everything that happened yesterday. Okay, I think that this fan base, when it comes to Husker football, is in a very interesting position. And
we're down bad.
I think that's the best way of putting it. And it's a very interesting time. And I think last week, out of nowhere, we kind of got to a point where we drew a line in the sand. And we were like, what side are you on? You know, do you want this to work out, or do you not want this to work out? Are you positive maxing? Are you negative maxing? Where are you? And it came kind of out of nowhere, you know, and we, you know, had opinions on here on both sides. And I think we, you know, at least me, I don't want to speak for you, Josh, but I kind of established myself as I'm kind of pretty down the middle at this point, being able to acknowledge that there are really good things that Matt Rule's done, and there are really positive things that have happened to Lincoln, and there are definitely things that have been lacking. And I don't think I have any sort of hesitation to point out either when they're going on. But yesterday, I think there was how people took John's comments and how people on both sides reacted to those comments. There was the people who reacted very negatively to what John and what Josh and what Nick has said about the Trey Taylor tweet, and there were people who were very, very upset about it. And there were other people who, you know, contacted me and talked to me and said, I don't really fully disagree with what they were kind of getting at in terms of, you know, how Trey communicates and talks to the Husker fan base. And it really made me realize that there's not just two sides to the fan base. Okay, there's a bunch of different sides of the fan base, but there's one side of the fan base, and this is just my viewing opinion. There's one side of the fan base that is not afraid to make observations and to be very critical of the Husker football program, and to voice opinions and voice, whether it be observations or facts, that might be viewed as negative and might be viewed as going against the grain, going against the program. And there's another side of the fan base that has been so beaten down by the disappointment and the shortcomings and deficiencies of this Husker football program that they've almost their stance in a way is negativity isn't going to help anything. Us pointing out these things isn't going to help anything. Being overly critical of things isn't going to help anything. I'm going to be overwhelmingly positive, and I don't want to deal with any of the negativity. And I understand it from a certain point, because I was a Cubs fan growing up. I'm a Bears fan, right? I'm a Blackhawks fan. I totally understand the point of view of being so disappointed year in and year out, game in and game out, to the point where you're like, hey, us pointing out how bad we are isn't going to solve anything. And so when you have a side of the fan base that is not afraid to be critical, that is not afraid to be negative, that is not afraid to point out the shortcomings of what's going on in Husker football, and you have another side of the fan base that's almost apathetic to the negativity that is surrounding the program because it's been around them for so long and they've been so disappointed. When you have those two sides, it's like a warm front hitting a cold front. And when that happens, storms happen, right? And you have situations that have occurred over the last 2 weeks. And so I just think that there's one side of the fan base is like, hey, some of these things are weird. This is what it is, and I don't agree with this. And there's another side being like, hey, stop it. You're not solving anything. And so to me, I understand why people might think, hey, pointing out negativity is not a positive thing, isn't a good thing to do. It's not going to solve anything. I understand how some people might think that, being critical of the program isn't going to move the program forward. But I know for a fact that you're not going to solve anything by just saying everything is sunshine and rainbows and everything is okay. And so, look, in terms of, and I think Happer described it perfectly, I think the topic of Trey Taylor and how he communicates with fans obviously is a minefield, and people, get very, very critical of people when they go ahead and they might critique him because of his age and because him being in high school and everything like that. And he has been a source of some positivity for this fan base over the last year. At the same time, I've said it on this radio station before, maybe not on this show specifically, but I've definitely said it on the morning show where, Trey's a different type of cat. He's a different type of guy. He goes about things in a very different way. And, I think that there is a section of the fan base that definitely experienced what it was like to have a quarterback who was all about promoting the brand and all about promoting himself and all about being front facing. And I think that there are some people who view that with Trey and it's a little off-putting and it's a little different. And, I understand some people looking at it being like, oh, don't critique a high schooler. I understand some people being like, it's kind of strange to be like, hey guys.
I said it earlier on earlier this week on the show, and I stick to it now. Don't talk about what high schoolers are doing, whether it be online, on your radio show, on your TV show, in the bar where you and your bum friends hang out. If you aren't in high school, stop paying attention to what high schoolers do.
I think it's a great point, Josh. I think that's pretty. Now, do I think the reaction to what John, Josh, and Nick said was a little bit ridiculous? Absolutely. Do I think we jumped the shark in terms of how we reacted to some of these comments? Yes, 1,000,000%. Some people were calling it disgusting and heinous and everything. I would
heinous?
not. Heinous was a word.
Heinous.
Heinous is
get real problems.
I know.
This is football.
I know. I couldn't agree more.
And it's not good football, by the way, either.
No,
okay.
It's not. I think the reaction to it was way over the top. Way over the top. But I think
you attacked the only thing I love.
I mean, literally,
my identity.
Some called him a shining light is something that I saw on Twitter.
Who?
There was a tweet that called him a positive light.
Who is a shining light?
Here, I just had it here.
Trey or John Bishop?
Someone wrote, Jasker fans talking trash on a high school kid. The jokes truly write themselves. Your show is expletive and none of you are relevant. Trey is one of the...
Well, that's true. We are not relevant. Stop paying attention to us.
Trey is one of the few lights inside the Nebraska football program.
Right? Okay.
So it's one of those things where I think Happer was totally spot on. It's a minefield. And it just seems like there's really no good that comes out of talking about it, whether it be positively or negatively. And I think that you kind of were spot on there. Don't talk about high schoolers. I think that's a very, very, very easy rule to abide by. So we will leave it right there. I do think that there are two very distinguished sides of the fan base that are kind of colliding right now. And that's what happens when you don't take advantage of what could have been a very fruitful and beneficial season. And that's what happens when you're 19-19 in 3 years and you're 10-17 in the Big Ten. It leads to a lot of contentious
reverting
situations.
back to those problems that we had under Scott Frost, where everything is a huge problem because the team isn't winning. Like
that's the one thing of this all, which is the beautiful and barbaric thing about football. If you win, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. If you just get stuff done on Saturday, you're good, man.
Mhm.
You're good. You're all good to go. Like, it'll all work itself out. And if you don't get things done on Saturday, then everything, to your point, every little thing becomes the biggest thing of all time.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how we got here to the point over the last 2 weeks. It's felt like you're on one side or the other side, but that's kind of where we are. And that's what happens when you're not winning a lot as a program. You're not going to have a lot of kumbaya coming together, holding hands in a circle singing. But I think that if one thing is clear is that Matt Rule is going to be the head coach for the Nebraska Cornhuskers for the long haul at this point. And so we're all just going to have to do our own observations and create our own opinions. And
Depends on how long you plan on hauling. But yeah.
Good point. So that's that. We are going to move on. That was fun. That was awesome. That was our observations. John Bishop will be on at 1:45 here. I'm sure that will be quite the crowd to hear what he might have to say, and John and Josh and Nick as well on sportsmanlike conduct. Let's get into what this show is going to be.
Our show.
Today. Our show. Middays with Matt.
Your show. Stop
What do you mean?
paying attention to other shows.
It's our, well, we had
Although
to,
we do appreciate him giving everyone content.
we had to address it. We had to address it. Okay, we had to talk about it. Let's talk about us now. Middays with Matt.
Yeah.
With Josh Hodson.
Yeah.
Scott Doctorman, everybody's favorite writer of
What's
the
up,
Athletic.
Doc?
Wrote a great article today. I would love to. We should have Doctorman on at one point. I think that'd be a fun conversation. I was in an elevator with him in Chicago.
Whoa.
We were
Okay,
dude,
tell me
that guy,
everything.
That guy's a big deal. Like, he walked.
Oh
in,
yeah, he's one of the honks.
He walked in. He was in that elevator, and some guy who was like 6'5", who had a great suit on, who knew you. He had the type of suit on that you were like, you're a big deal. Like, you're not that tall, and you're not wearing that suit without have some. I'm telling you, look it up. How the average height of a CEO is like 6'3". Like, if you're tall, you have like, I think there's an actual statistic. Like, if you are tall, you have a better chance at being in a high-ranking position than if you're not. I think that actually exists. That might be a Mick fact. I have no idea. That I was just told that once on the street. But anyway, but I'm just telling you, guy. I was told in my classroom one time, he's like, "Yeah, people were taller. They got a higher chance of being like a CEO or a big deal in business."
And they told you this to shame you.
Well, I'm average. I'm 5'11", 6 foot when I have my boots on. When I go to the Zach Bryan concert, I was 6 feet tall.
Oh yeah, did you wear your bleep kickers to the show?
I did, which is why I had a great time, at the Zach Bryan concert.
You're one of like the few people that just did not complain about that show.
No,
and I appreciate that.
I had
Thank
a
you.
great time. It's a concert, man. It was a great time. I went there. He sang. I enjoyed the songs. I jumped around. I talked to some people. I enjoyed it. I don't care that. I'll be right now. I wasn't walking out of there thinking, "Oh my God, we got shorted." It was like the guy played for an hour and a half. By the way, it was thunderstorming. Like, there was some real lightning strikes.
I saw the video.
It was a little eerie, if I'm being honest with you. Like, there was at one point, I'm like, "Is this safe?" I was like, "Is this? Should we really be doing this right now?" But no, I did not complain. And also, too, I didn't pay for the tickets. So
Okay, there it is.
yeah. If you don't pay for the tickets, are you really going to really get all mad about it? No, you're not. Anyway, Scott had a great article today. He interviewed a bunch of fans of fan bases, got their opinions on their current football teams and their current football outlook. And then he also got some opinions from other fans about those teams as well. What a great article about it. We will talk about it. I think there's some interesting takeaways in terms of how fans feel about their individual teams. I think that there are some teams where I'm like, you should be more confident in your team. You should be a little bit more confident in your team's ability to win a college football playoff game or maybe even win a college football national championship. And then there are other fans that I'm like, oh, you might be a little bit too optimistic in terms of your chances. And then there were just some funny poll quotes Scott had. Scott had some just funny drops in there, which was super, super funny. So we will talk about that article. The NHL draft lottery happened yesterday.
I saw this.
We're not going to so much. We're not going to talk about the result of the lottery or what it's going to mean for the NHL or anything like that. You know, it's one of those things where, are there a lot of Toronto Maple Leaf fans that are currently listening to Middays with Matt? Probably not. But I love how they do
We're
it.
kind of a big deal.
I love how they do it. And we have a fun segment where I think 30 for 30 is definitely taking a back burner, right? I mean, it's just not what it used to be. When we were all in kind of agreement
right.
at that point. Like, especially when Bill Simmons was the lead producer for a lot of these things. They were absolutely awesome. I don't know if it's we've run out of stories to tell or we've run out of people who are willing to give unlimited access. You know, I mean, I think it's pretty well established at this point that the 1995 Huskers were going to have a 30 for 30 and then things kind of just fell apart there. I have an idea for what 30 for 30 can do and how we can get it back rolling. And it has to do with the NBA draft lottery. We're also going to talk about the college football playoff. It seems like at this point that we are going to go to a 2014 playoff. The 2020s really are going to be the era of expanded playoffs throughout sports. I mean, we've already kind of touched on this before, but the NFL expanded their playoff, the MLB expanded their playoff, the NBA expanded their playoff, college football college football is going to end up expanding their playoffs multiple times in the 2020s. Only hockey hasn't expanded their playoffs in the 2020s. They just, though, decided to group their playoffs in such a weird and disgusting way that just at the end of the day hurts better teams as more than it helps them. Case in point is the Minnesota Wild are a team that easily could be playing in the Western Conference Finals, and they're going to end up losing in the second round because Colorado looks really good. I mean, Colorado's been uberly impressive in the first two games of that series. Cale Makar was undressing dudes on the blue line yesterday with his fancy schmancy dangling skills. So that was dude. It was Cale Makar is so good at hockey. He is unbelievable at hockey. And by the way, San Jose Sharks, very underrated storyline yesterday. Got the second overall pick in the draft. Just for you, so you hockey fans or you non-hockey fans know, this is a two-guy draft. Ivar Stenberg and Gavin McKenna are like the consensus number one, number two guys. Macklin Celebrini, that he's next up. Okay, he's like the next Crosby almost in a way, in my opinion. I mean, he's going to be a big-time Canadian hockey player. They're going to pair him up with one of Stenberg or McKenna, and it's going to be absolutely insane. So San Jose might be back on the map when it comes to hockey. For all of you Patrick Marleau, Joe Thornton, and Joe Pavelski fans out there, Sharks might be back. Blackhawks got the fourth overall pick. Pretty disappointing to see that happen. Would have loved to see Bedsy paired up with one of the top guys. But anyway, we will talk about the 2014 playoff. Does it really help the sport? Does it really improve college football by adding 12 more teams to a playoff? In my opinion, we're getting to the point where when it no longer becomes a real accomplishment to make a playoff, that's when you have too many teams in the playoff. I mean, I thought that the college football playoff would actually end up being really good for coaches because it's something they can hang their hat on and be like, look, we made the CFP. Hey, this is an accomplishment. You know, while I was the coach here, we made the playoffs X amount of times. Give me an extension. Keep me around. Hey, if I end up actually getting fired because we don't win a national championship, look at how many times I got my team into a 12-team playoff. Now it's going to turn into, if you don't make the playoff once, it's like, what the hell are you doing if they end up going to 24 teams? I actually do think, though, there's a more important embedded storyline into having a 24-team playoff that we will also discuss about. We will also go ahead and talk about Nebraska football today. In honor of what the discourse has been from last week to this week, we are going to zag where people have been zigging. I'm going to give you some reasons to be optimistic and positive about Nebraska football today.
Oh.
And then tomorrow, I'm going to give you reasons to be pessimistic and to be worried.
Matt.
Okay? It's the duality of football. Okay, I have to give you both sides of the pie. I'm gonna give you some legitimate reasons today as to why you should potentially be excited for Nebraska football. As to maybe the season could be much better than people are anticipating it being. People are anticipating the season being a stinker. Let's just call a spade a spade. People are anticipating this season being pretty disappointing. My friend, my very good friend Dan, told me multiple times, he goes, I've never been less excited about a Nebraska football season. I've never looked forward to Nebraska football less than I currently am right now. I am going to give Dan and all of you who might feel the same way a couple of reasons to not feel that way, a couple of reasons to positively enter in the Nebraska football season, and then swiftly and promptly tomorrow, I will give you the other side of the story. And then on Friday, we're going to put the pieces of the pie together. We're going to squish them both and say, what is the more likely outcome?
All right.
There'll be a 3-day process that we'll have here. We have a fun show along with all those topics. Jon Walker of the Omaha World Herald will be joining us at 11 o'clock to
Another
talk.
sleepy boy.
Yes. Walks will be joining us. He'll be talking volleyball, baseball. Creighton Baseball, what a win yesterday. What a win yesterday over Kansas. The jabbering Jayhawks, if you will. They like to talk from that dugout, man. I mean,
I have seen this. I have heard about
the
this.
the field mic picks them up at Creighton. The field mic picked them up when they were playing at Haymarket Park. They like to chirp. They are chirping. They are the chirping Jays. They have a ton of energy. Creighton was able to ricochet that against them and walk it off yesterday. We have the call from our very own Connor Happer, who did a phenomenal job on Yacht Rock 1180 along with Gary Sharp. Was able to listen to those two guys yesterday. It's a part of the game. Did a phenomenal job. So we will talk about that with Jon Walker. We will talk about Creighton basketball with Jon Walker. And then it's a Wednesday, which means, as always, at 1 o'clock, we have our wacky guest. It's a wacky guest Wednesday here on Middays with Matt. Don't forget to call us at 402-951-1620. That is the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. And you can get at us on Twitter at Matt McMedia, at Producer Josh. That is the Zone Twitter feed, which is powered by Liquid Trekking. And never, ever forget to email us at the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. Equitable Bank, they take banking person. We have a great show for you tonight. John Bon Jovi is here on Middays with Matt. We talked to Jon Walker coming up next here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
Now, if you are Jeremy Allen, think you want to come to Bend North too aggressively here. The 3-1 is swung on, hit into right center field, hit pretty well. Back he goes into right center. It is gone! A home run! Bend North just walked it off! You have got to be kidding me! In an epic all-timer! Bend North, his 10th home run of the year! Creighton wins it 9-8 in 13.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
It's our very own Connor Happer there on the call on a Yacht Rock 1180, a 4-hour, 54-minute game that went 13 innings, included 18 pitchers, 22 hits, and 17 total runs scored. Ended up with the Jays victorious over the Kansas Jayhawks. Matt McMaster here along with Josh Otson. We welcome in from the Omaha World Herald, the man who was on the scene yesterday for the OWH, writing about the Blue Jays' big win over the number 7 ranked team in the country. It's Jon Walker joining Middays with Matt. Johnny Walks, how are you, brother? How much sleep did you get last night?
Not very much. Not very much. So here's a peek behind the journalism curtain for a second. We had decided, or I decided yesterday that if Creighton had lost that game, then I wasn't going to write about it, and that if Creighton won that game, I would write about it. I was there regardless, covering the game, but I was like, okay. And yes, so I took some notes down throughout the game, of course, but it probably wasn't until like the 8th inning where I was like, oh, like I should probably start writing a story just in case, because then it unfurled into like, okay, regardless of how this ends, I'm going to write a story.
Sure.
And yeah, so all of that to say, I was up. I think I filed the story that is currently on omaha.com at 2:05 a.m.
Oof.
And I was up at 8 o'clock for a phone interview for a Creighton softball feature.
Okay.
I'll have out either later today or early tomorrow. So did not get much sleep. And that's okay because it has to be.
I mean, you got to do your job.
Yeah, exactly. I'll go to bed a little earlier than usual tonight.
Sure.
And that'll be that. But what an electric, fantastic ball game that there weren't rows of people at Schwab last night, but the people who were there, from the concourses to the dugout and this guy in the press box, will probably never forget that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously when you beat the number 7 team in the country, that's one heck of an accomplishment and a very, very big win from a team that hasn't lost a lot in Kansas. I mean, that's a team that is definitely on the forefront of hosting a regional. I think Connor, he did a great job of saying that one of the projections that he saw had Creighton in a regional in Lawrence, Kansas, taking on the Jayhawks. And so not only to beat that type of team at home is a big deal, but to do it in the fashion in which they did it, right? To do it on a walk-off, to do it where it takes nearly 5 hours to get the game done. And then on top of that, too, I mean, I think that the entirety of the game was just Creighton not letting up, Creighton not backing down to a very big team. And it seemed like after Kansas put up that 3 spot in the second inning, you're like, oh, okay, Creighton got off to a good start, but it seems like, this might be one of those things where Kansas just takes the game and control it. And for them to respond in the bottom of the second inning with that other 3 spot to take a 2-run lead. And then, like you said in your article, there's 5 different lead changes and a bunch of different pitchers and 22 total hits. It was a real great theater, if you will, over at the Chuck box, and it is a great time, and it ends up with Creighton being victorious. Are you on the beat for the rest of the year?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Now, like full time, I don't know, because obviously there's still, like, we've got a bunch of other stuff too, and with our, at OWH, we're kind of all hands on deck with a little bit of everything at the moment, especially with the College World Series coming up.
Yes.
So, But essentially, like Creighton basketball has done most of its portal work. And so from here on out, aside from Alan Huss having to fill the final 2 roster spots, we're on to the diamond sports. Creighton softball starts its Big East tournament journey tomorrow. And I think there's 2 weeks left in the regular season for Creighton baseball. So away we go.
Away we go, indeed. Let's talk about Creighton basketball. Will they be receiving votes in the preseason AP poll?
I'd be stunned. I would be stunned. Just because, and I said this last year too, right or wrong, the fact of the matter is there is so much uncertainty.
Yeah.
And that's the case for a lot of teams nowadays, sure, right? But, outside looking in, because, again, right or wrong, the fact of the matter is not every AP voter sits and watches every move that every team makes throughout the offseason.
That's a good point.
Shocker, right? And so, no, I don't think they'll receive votes just because, again, there is a lot of uncertainty for a team that is coming off its worst season in over a decade and has a new coach and this, that, and the other. So,
Sure.
No, I don't think they'll receive votes, but, nobody really gives a damn where you are in the preseason poll if you're ranked at the end of the year.
Where do you think they are going to be ranked if you had to guess right now in the Big East preseason poll?
East? Okay, so So Flex, I kind of led the charge on bringing back the Big East preseason media poll.
Congrats! Great job. Great job.
I didn't realize my first couple of years on the beat. I kind of thought I was just left out of it. But I was like, man, no Big East preseason poll. That's tough. And then last year I was like, okay, well, why don't I just put it together?
Sure. Why not?
So yes, I was thinking about that just recently because I was like, man, before we know it, basketball season's going to be here and I'm going to put together my preseason poll and this, that, and the other. I think I would have them 5th right now.
Okay.
4th or 5th, somewhere right in there.
So St. John's, UConn, Villanova. Do you value Providence and what they did in the transfer portal?
Yeah, it's tough because Providence kind of, I mean, not me personally, I don't really care, but Providence scorned me as far as my poll is concerned last year because I thought the Friars were going to be really, really good. And let's be honest, they had the talent to be really, really good. And it just didn't work as we saw.
Yeah.
So, but boy, have they reloaded this off season.
I know.
So they had a lot they really had to overhaul the roster. They lost a high-end rim protector in Oswin Arunse, who is now at Creighton.
Yes.
And so, similar to Creighton, there's a lot of uncertainty with an entirely new roster and a new coach. So we'll see. Yeah, I think right now I'd probably say UConn, St. John's, Villanova. Not sure which order on the top 2. Probably UConn UConn number 1.
Yeah.
They'll get Silas back and Braylon back. And so UConn 1, St. John's 2, Nova 3. And then really, really, I have no clue after that, which I think is going to be pretty emblematic for the Big East, at least through the first, couple months of next season. But we'll see. 4th or 5th, I think is right around where I'd have the Jays.
Let's talk about because when Alan Huss first got here, I was asking around to people. I go, what are some of the specialties? What are some of the things that Coach Huss does really well? And one of the top things that always came up was his ability to develop big men, his ability to develop the 4 and the 5 position. Creighton, you reported yesterday that they flipped the number 20th overall center and 107th overall prospect in the class of 2026 from NC State to Creighton. It's Trevin Carter-Givens. He is 6'11", 190 pounds. Obviously, you got to maybe up that second number just a little bit. But what is your outlook on this late 2026 flip for the Blue Jays? And what's your outlook? I mean, is this a guy is this a developmental project? Is this a raw prospect? Is this a guy who could come in pretty quickly and give Creighton some minutes? How do you view this late addition of Trevin Carter-Givens to the men's basketball roster?
Yeah, I'm going to take it in a vacuum first.
Sure.
We're going to zoom in on it because, as you know, as I know, as everyone listening knows, really, in this era of college basketball, you can only evaluate things year to year.
Yeah.
Because so much happens throughout each offseason now. And so let's take a look at this upcoming season. I think since the Jays landed an elite shot blocker in Oswin Arunse, they brought in JUCO product Wesley Rosa, and it still felt like, man, they need something. Like they need another big just in case, right? If that's somebody to compete with Rosa, if that's somebody to usurp Rosa in the pecking order, whatever that was, it just felt like, and I've written about this. I'm on the record saying this, like they just needed another big, and they got one, right? And Alan Huss had recruited Trevin Carter-Givens when he was at High Point. He offered him again last summer, and now they circle back and land him. So he's going to, in this effort to reinvigorate Creighton's rim protection, Alan Huss went and got another big-time, freakishly long-armed rim protector. Because Trevin Carter-Givens, at 6'11", 190 pounds, has a 7'5" wingspan. And
that's
so
awesome.
that alone is going to allow his defensive presence alone is going to allow him to have a role immediately, I believe. And behind Oswin Arunse, like we all know, Oswin Arunse has a vast history of foul trouble.
Yes, great point.
Now, as you pointed out, Alan Huss is really good at developing bigs. So the goal, of course, is that they develop Oswin's verticality and he doesn't foul as much and he's on the court more. So but you have to be prepared in case, right? And you need the depth anyways, as we saw last season. So they go and get Wesley Rosa, and now they bring in Trevin Carter-Givens, who would easily slot in behind Oswin Arunse in, I don't know, let's say 10 minutes a game, 12 minutes a game, and provide a similar paint presence. So that's huge for a team that gave up 1,300 points in the paint a season ago. Now you take a step back and it's like, okay, yeah, like this can really kind of be your 1-2 punch for the foreseeable future, especially if 5-5 passes. That would give Oswin 3 more years of eligibility instead of 2.
Yeah.
So that would then open the window for Creighton to have, again, Oswin and Trevin Carter-Givens for potentially 3 seasons. Now, to wrap all of this back around, Matt, as I mentioned, so many things change season to season, summer to summer. So am I naive enough to sit here and say, yeah, they're going to have this 1-2 punch for the next 3 years? In all likelihood, that won't happen for one reason or another, right? Like we're not that naive.
Are we just? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
At least I'm not that naive, right? But the plan is in place. You have 2 premier rim protectors, and that will allow Alan Huss to implement the more disruptive defense that he wants to. So it's huge, both for the future and, more importantly, for next season.
Are we at the point where we should just assume that if things go well, you're going to have a guy for 2 years? Are we just at the point where it's just once you get a guy, like you either get the guy before he transfers or you get the guy where he's going to end? Like, are we just kind of at the point where it's like, okay, hey, we're getting this guy in the back end and we're going to get this guy in the front end? Is that how we're now viewing life cycles in college basketball now?
Probably like 2 years is probably a pretty safe cycle at this point. Because
fascinating.
Yeah, it's just honestly like You never know. You legit never know. Like Trayvon Carter-Givens could spend 4 years at Creighton. And in this era, that would surprise me.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with Creighton, and it has nothing to do with Trayvon Carter-Givens. It's simply where college basketball is at. And so, yeah, I think that'd be fair to say, like, you're kind of building on a 2-year cycle at this point. I pointed that out last summer and through the first half of this past season, but that's why I believed at the time Greg McDermott would spend another season at Creighton and run it back for 26-27, because if you look at last year's roster construction, it was a bunch of guys with 1 and 2 years of eligibility left, 2 and 3 years of eligibility left. And so it seemed like they built the roster in a 2-year cycle. Hey, we'll compete this year. We'll try and keep this group together. And then we'll go all in. Whatever the missing pieces are, we'll go get those and we'll go all in for, again, what I thought at the time would be a McDermott farewell tour. And as we know now, that's not what happened, because the roster didn't end up being what it could have been or what the Jays thought it would be. And McDermott's now retired and Allen Huss has taken over and they've reloaded the roster again. And so, yeah, 2 years is probably safe in this era of college basketball.
Yeah.
But man, like, can you really earnestly, can you really feel comfortable even operating on a 2-year timeline?
See, that's a great question. That's because I don't think there is any doubt you could not look 3 years down the line anymore. And that used to be the standard, John, though. You used to be like, hey, we got this really good class. If we can pair up another really good class in 3 seasons, we could have an old team that can make a really deep run. Like that's kind of how some programs viewed it. Other programs like Duke and Michigan State, they would just cycle in some guys, right? Because they were just awesome at recruiting. But yeah, no, you're totally right. Like, I think there's even a debate to be had of whether or not you can really look 2 seasons down the line, let alone 1 season down the line. I think that is a great summer column for you to have. Maybe a summer column idea where you go ahead, you ask some coaches like, hey, maybe get Coach McCollum on the line. Be like, Coach, can you look? How many years down the road can you really look when you're building your roster? Let me ask you one more question.
Have at it.
At this point, the rosters are kind of 90% set throughout the country.
Yeah,
there might be a couple of guys who withdraw from the NBA draft and officially go back to college. We'll see what happens. But, there's a couple prospects like that might flip a couple of things. But for the most part, especially because we're not going to grandfather any seniors to have an extra year of eligibility, the rosters are basically set at this point. Who's Jon Walker's preseason number 1 right now? Who is the team that you think is going to be the one to beat when we get to the regular season? We're still a ways away from that being the case.
Sure.
Well, who's your preseason number 1 right now, Johnny?
So 2 teams come to mind. And there's probably a gap between them, but I think these 2 teams stand out for sure. Duke, of course.
Yeah.
What they have done in the transfer portal, and then they obviously returned key pieces from last year.
Yeah, Boozer's back, and not Cam.
Boozer's back.
Jaden.
Yeah. Caden Boozer's back, and Patrick Nyongba's back, and it's just they kept 2 pieces from a team that, I don't know, for a lot of the year was regarded as one of the top teams in the, metrically was one of the top teams in the country. So those are huge pieces to get back. And then they went to work in the transfer portal. So yeah, probably Duke. And then the other one that comes to mind, Tennessee. And the work that they've done, I believe Nate Ament is returning for next season. They just got Juke Harris on Monday or over the weekend. I can't remember when. So Tennessee, is always a really, really tough out and always a really, really good team, because that is what Rick Barnes has established in his decade plus at Tennessee. right?
Yeah.
Maybe I have that wrong. I don't know how long he's been at Tennessee, but it feels like forever.
It does feel like forever.
And now, not that they haven't, but they certainly do now, have the sheer talent to go along with that pedigree.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the SEC is a gauntlet. We know that. But I think Tennessee is going to be pretty damn good. So Duke would probably be my number one, and Tennessee, in my mind, would not be too far behind.
Illinois
be up there too. Yeah, Illinois will certainly be up there.
I think so.
Lost Stojakovic, right? He's going to go to the draft.
No, I think they got him back. I'm almost positive they got him back.
Okay, I couldn't remember. Yeah, so that's big. They were able to keep Markovic.
They kept everybody, and they got the Stefan Vox too. He's a point guard.
Yes. So yeah, they'll essentially lose in the wash. Not that it's a 1-for-1 swap, but they will lose Keaton Wagler and bring in Stefan Vox.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is.
That's that's pretty solid. Like we saw Vox last year.
Yeah.
Play Creighton. One in Providence, and then when they came to Omaha.
Here's the projected starting five for Illinois. You ready for this? Stefan Vox, Andrei Stojakovic, David Mirkovic, Vonimir Ivasic, Tomislav Ivasic.
Yeah. So throw Tennessee up there too.
Yeah.
Some form of Duke, Tennessee, Illinois.
Okay.
Would be my top three.
Jon Walker, you are the man. I appreciate you very, very much. We will talk to you soon, my friend.
Thanks, Matt.
Talk to you. Illinois is going to be my number one. I think Duke obviously is going to. I think John's spot on. Duke's going to be there too. I mean, they've killed it in the portal, and once again in the high school recruiting. I mean, Caden Boozer might be coming off the bench for them, and he was their starting point guard last year. Then you can't forget they got John Blackwell out of the portal from Wisconsin. Florida, too, going to be a team to be competitive. I like the Tennessee shout from Jon Walker. I do want to say, I definitely think, Josh, you're perfect for this.
Oh, okay.
Guys like you and Schaefer and Happer, early 2000s, late 90s college basketball, Illinois was around. Illinois was a power. Illinois was with 3 years with Bill Self and Kruger and Weber, they were there. They were always going to the tournament. They went to a national title, right? They were going to the Sweet 16s. They were there, right? But for me, that wasn't really the case. And I think a lot of people, it gets lost that from 2007 to 2019, that Illinois went to 3 NCAA tournaments. From 2013 all the way up to 2020, they didn't make one tournament. They went on a pretty long tournament drought, and even took Brad Underwood a couple of seasons to finally get his legs under him and get Illinois back to where they are. So I don't think it's stated enough, in my opinion, that a lot of people are used to Illinois being good. A lot of people are used to Illinois being competitive and Illinois going to NCAA tournaments, but they had a very interesting decade plus stretch where they just were not what they had been in the past. And now they're going to get to the point where they went to the Final Four last year. They went into the Elite Eight a couple of seasons ago, and now they're going to enter in this season for college basketball either ranked number 1 or in the top 5 of some sort. So I think Brett Underwood has done one hell of a job over there as the head coach of the Illini, and we'll see what Florida ends up doing here down the stretch, but they'll probably end up getting my number 1 vote for preseason number 1. From the 402 text in on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone text line.
Hi, 402.
402-951-1620 is the number to reach us and text us. Pending lawsuits, rosters for the 2026-2027 NCAA basketball are set. I envision there will be some. That comes from Randy. We will see. I mean, this whole grandfathering in everybody, there are going to be people who are pretty upset that if they're not grandfathered in to get that extra year of eligibility. But I just think the NCAA is so sick and tired of granting people more years of eligibility that if they can spare themselves from doing it, they're going to do that. Because, I mean, we literally got to the point in this medium where we had no idea who had what years left. Like we were like, I give up. I forget who's got a waiver and who's got a red shirt and who's got this. And then we
One
started
of the best decisions I ever made in my life was trying to figure out what year these kids are.
Honestly, it got to the point where you're like, I'll get the roster at the beginning of the preseason, and whoever is here, that is who I'm going to assume is playing. And even sometimes you get the roster and the guy still didn't have eligibility, and you're trying to figure that out. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what all happens there. And I still can't get over the fact that we gave Trinidad Chambliss a retroactive red shirt. I feel like that just kind of passed us by.
It's old news.
Guy had like tonsillitis or whatever the hell it was. We were like, yeah, you get another year. Order in the court. So
he couldn't breathe.
Apparently, but it wasn't that big of a deal to think about it when he was all the way back playing Division II football. Playing D2 football.
Ferris State.
That guy was awesome in the college football playoff. And you're like, that guy was playing D2 football not that long ago. Incredible stuff.
Lots of people are bad talent evaluators.
Lots of people are. Coming up next, let's talk about the doc. Let's talk about Scotty. He had a fun article today. I want to read you some quotes. I want to read you some pessimism. I want to read you some optimism. I want to read you some just weird stuff that he had people telling him. So good stuff from Scott Doctorow. We'll talk about that next here on Middays with Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right. Shout out Scott Doctor. I've been reading this article that he wrote all day. Finally got to the end of it. I have.
That's good.
Well, I'm just being honest, okay?
You've been reading it during the show, not like.
Well, I woke up this morning and I started. It's all 18 teams and excerpts from a bunch of fans of all 18 teams in the Big Ten.
Conferences are too big.
It is a long article. It is taken me. This has probably been, and I've been writing down quotes. This has been about a 35-minute read for me, because there's some that are pretty short and there's some that are pretty long. But basically, Scott has gone ahead and he's asked people, okay, 1 through 5, how likely is it that your team will win the college football playoff in the next 5 years? Okay, in the next 5 years, how confident are you that your team will win a national championship? And he asked this to every single fan, or to a bunch of fans for every single school in the Big Ten. Okay, now obviously, the team that finished number 1, whose fans are most confident that they're going to win a national title in the next 5 years, is Ohio State. Okay, they had an average response of 4.7. Oregon was 4.4. Indiana was 4.1. Michigan 3.8. If you told me a couple of years ago that Indiana was going to have a higher confidence rating of winning a national championship in 5 years than Michigan, I would have called you crazy. At the bottom, you want to guess who's at the very bottom of this? Whose fans are the least confident they will win a national championship in 5 years?
Least confident?
Least confident.
Purdue.
Purdue was second. They're 1.3. Rutgers, 1.2.
Okay.
Is the lowest, followed by Northwestern, 1.3, the third lowest. Maryland, 1.3, the fourth lowest. Minnesota, 1.7. Nebraska finished tied with Michigan State at 10th at 2.0. Funny enough, Wisconsin fans more confident than Nebraska fans in the next 5 years that they will win a national championship. Let's go through some of the points here, some interesting points that were made, and some very, very funny quotes. Number 1, Illinois. Surprisingly, fans are not very optimistic at all that Illinois is going to win a college football playoff in the next 5 years. Now, I don't think that is a hot take by any means. I do think, though, we need to remind people that Illinois has won 19 games over the last 2 seasons and has 2 bowl wins over SEC opponents. Like, Illinois, under Brett Bielema, over the last couple of years, has built a fairly impressive program. And they went ahead and they got Caden Hauser, the former Michigan State quarterback, who then played at ECU, who had a really, really good year last year. They bring him into Illinois. This Illinois team, they've built a structure. They've built what they do to win. They're very tough in the run game. They build through the offensive line. Their secondary has been great year in and year out, and they hit it out of the park. Luke Altmaier, in my opinion, was one of the most underrated transfer portal pickups that we've seen in this kind of era, this NIL era, of a guy who, couldn't really get on at Ole Miss, transfers to Illinois. He was there for like 3 years, really developed with the team, became at one point the face of Illinois football. I think very under the radar, sneaky great pickup for Illinois over the last couple. They've won 19 games in 2 years. I mean, I would think they're a little bit higher. Their fan base is a little bit more confident that they can at least get into the college football playoff. I would not be surprised in the next couple of years if the Illini are in the CFP. I mean, look, if the CFP expands to 24, I mean, they definitely could be a team that, if we're just going off of the last couple of seasons, could be a regular face. Indiana. Let me read you a quote from Indiana fan Mitchell. Okay. I never thought I'd be sitting on top of the mountaintop, but here I am enjoying the view. I've since adjusted to the altitude, so thanks to Coach Sig, I do not plan on heading down anytime soon. Indiana fan Kyle says, Signetti is an absolute wizard. No amount of praise can ever do justice to what he has managed to accomplish at my alma mater. I'll tell you this right now. You're a basketball school until you become a football school. All right? You think you're a basketball school until your team starts winning at football, until your team starts becoming really, really good at football, and you start enjoying that and enjoying those Saturdays and watching your team just whip up in this game. That is it's amazing to see the renaissance that Indiana football has got. Look at right here.
What are we looking at?
Colin Cowher is talking about Indiana football on his live show on Fox in May. Talking about this is maybe the first time this has ever happened in television history where National Fox is a guy talking about Indiana football in the month of May. Okay?
Look at Fernando sling it.
Dude, he's going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I am standing 10 toes down firmly on it.
Your confidence has me like, okay, maybe I'm the one that's wrong.
I can't see. He's got the measurables. He's a winner. He's played a ton of football.
You said something.
I
know this isn't what we're supposed to be talking about, but you said something with Severe the other day that like his attitude is gonna take him a long way.
So
like
far.
he's just, what can I do to help the team?
And some people call him corny or whatever. That the guy's just a winner. The guy just wants to win. He wants to win. He wants to be great, and he's smart. He is a smart human being.
Seems like.
And I'll tell you this right now.
Smart enough to leave Cal.
Smart enough to get into Cal. It's a pretty good school over at Berkeley. So that was Indiana's quotes. Iowa, surprisingly not as cop. I'll say this about this Iowa football team yesterday, and we talked to Caden Weejet about it over at the Jet Award. I told Caden straight up, I go, you guys were way better than what your record was. Like, you guys have had teams where you won 9-10 games, and that team last year that fell apart against USC and brought fought tooth and nail with Oregon to the very brink. You guys were better than those teams. He looked at me and he told me, he's like, we should have made the college football playoff. They were, that Iowa team last year was damn good. I think the question will always be with Iowa football, what if they get the quarterback position right? Like what if they can actually figure out the offense?
Right.
Because the special teams, even with LeVar Woods, going to Michigan State, the special teams is still going to be rooted. It's still going to be really, really good. And that defense, as long as Kirk is the head coach, is going to be what it is. And so I'm not going to call Iowa a sleeping giant or anything like that. But I do think that Iowa fans should be a little bit more confident. They can make a run. They can make a CFP run. You can have a magical. I look at Iowa and Illinois as having the structures and head coaches and just organization to the point where it's like, if you get a good enough recruiting class, or if you knock it out of the park and player development more so in 1 year, all at once, you can catch lightning in a bottle. There was a common theme with teams that weren't originally with the Big Ten. Everybody wanted them out of the Big Ten. A lot of the discourse with Maryland was they shouldn't be in the Big Ten. They should go back to the ACC. Even Doctorman wrote that the outside noise with Nebraska was they shouldn't be in the Big Ten anymore.
Oh no!
Which, who cares? They can all eat crap. Here is one of the funnier quotes here. This is from Maryland fan Ryan. Okay. He goes, I just love this Doctorman article because he just picks the best quotes that really fully, envelop how teams feel about, and they're fairly accurate. Ryan goes, we'll probably do our annual start 4 or 5-0, lose one game, and utterly collapse the entire rest of the season.
September, Maryland.
He goes, check the data. Once we lose, Mike Loxley can't get it back on the rails. It's pathetically soft. Great. There is the switch up too. Scott does this in alphabetical order, but it's so beautifully switched up from there's so many different tones. You go from Ryan, who is apoplectic when it comes to Maryland football and could not care less, right to Michigan, where it's the fans are super serious and they're like, we could get better, under Kyle, and Ward Emanuel needs to get his crap together and he probably shouldn't be the AD.
I think in olden times, quote unquote, they would have cut that Maryland quote off at check the data and not ran whatever came after it.
I just love, we need to use that saying more in life. Check the data.
Check the data.
Check the data. I'm right here. Okay. This is the best quote though of the entire article. It comes from Michigan State. This is Mike. Okay. Mike writes, Pat Fitzgerald is going to get us back to the place where we were doing most of our success in the 2010s and 2021 season. And I would gamble that he will even get us even more success than that. Mike continues. He was able to get those Northwestern nerds to play competent enough football, so I'm excited to see what heights he'll reach with the Spartans. Oh, by the way, so I'm excited to see what heights he'll reach with a team of Spartans.
With a team of Spartans.
That's
he knows that they're not
actual Spartans.
Spartans, right?
Check the data. I don't know. The data states that he thinks they are real Spartans. I think that's phenomenal, by the way. He won with a bunch of nerds.
I mean, he did.
He did win.
That was the thing that they were like. He won at that level at that school.
Seriously.
With those entrance exams.
Isn't that all what we do always, though, with every coach? Every coach, I feel like nowadays gets hired with, well, he won with nothing. Imagine what he'll do with more. Mm-hmm. That's just what we do. That's how we hire coaches. That's exactly why we hired Matt Rule. We go, he had nothing over at Temple and Baylor.
A lot of people are coaching SEC football this fall because they did something with nothing.
Nah, that's well, okay. Real quick before we get to Nebraska's, can I read the UCLA quote?
Please.
This comes from Josh.
Me?
No, not
okay.
Not you. He goes, Bob Chesney has the potential to be a paradigm-shifting coach for UCLA. If we can win quickly, the program can return to the popularity it had in the mid-2010s. Doctorman said, 2 referenced Chesney as the next Signetti. Another said, Chesney is like the rainbow created when the sun starts to peak after a storm.
Wow.
Bob Chesney is the rainbow of UCLA football.
Huh.
So people are feeling pretty good about the other ones.
They're pretty high on him.
Yeah.
Huh? Okay.
One saying that he's going to be a paradigm shift in football. The other one compared him to a rainbow. Here is the Husker quote before we go to break here into the audience. I was born in the mid-90s, so I'm too young to remember the glory years, but old enough to have fully been indoctrinated in the cult as a child, said Ryan, a Nebraska fan. I will never know happiness. Only death will free me from this misery. Go Big Red. This is Brandon. He states the conference is as good as it's ever been. My beloved Cornhuskers, not so much. I can't explain it other than they are cursed by Satan. Here's a Brian. So that was Ryan. That was Brandon. This is, by the way, we got a Ryan, Brandon, and Brian. Brian goes, Nebraska has been quietly dysfunctional for a long time, but year 4, no excuses. Time to get it right. And by right, I mean winning a conference season, at least 9 wins. No embarrassments at beat Iowa. That's probably the most normal response instead of saying we're cursed by Satan and I've been in this cult since I was a child.
Knowing what I know about Scott Docterman,
this is on brand.
Feels like there were some purposeful quotes he pulled.
Well, he did write this. Of the 45 comments related to Nebraska, most of which were written by self-reported Husker fans, 40 featured a negative slant.
Whoa.
The external comments come primarily from Michigan and Ohio State fans, targeted Nebraska as a program that should leave the Big Ten.
I thought we were being positive, guys.
But as always, with Husker fans, there's hope.
I thought we were all in on, we all got to be on the same page for Matty boy.
We can talk a little bit more of this Nebraska section as the show goes on.
Please.
There's a lot to unpack.
That's what noon's for.
But this is what this document article was awesome. It was a great read. I had a great time. I laughed. I cried. I shook my head. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
More people should write entertaining articles.
Great take, Josh, which is what you are going to read coming up next year on the Odd News here on Middays with Matt.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
2 stories, Josh. Are we in Florida at all?
Check my notes here. I don't think we are.
We're not. Are we in Ohio?
No, that's a good second guess.
Okay, thank you.
For what it is we do here.
Let's start with the first story.
If you are seeking a career change,
I'm currently not.
Good answer.
Thank
it was
you.
a test.
Thank you.
$50,000 being offered for, quote, chief World Cup watcher.
Yeah.
Fox Sports currently hiring that position, seeking one lucky soccer fan to get paid for watching every minute of all 104 matches of the World Cup this summer. $50,000 for 7 weeks from June 6th to July 29th.
You couldn't pay me $1 million.
Yeah, I don't know that I could make it. I would tell you I could make it.
You couldn't pay me $1 million.
I couldn't make it.
You couldn't pay me.
The position, of course, requires some weekend hours. Selected candidates will be paid to relocate to New York City for the tournament's duration to watch the matches from inside a custom glass office in the middle of Times Square. Whoa, okay.
What?
Don't love that.
It's so wait, everybody's going to be watching me?
For 7 weeks?
That sucks. No way.
Mhm.
I no thank you. No thank you whatsoever. Like, I'm not like Mr. Macho Soccer Sucks guy. Like, I'm not like
I
that
respect
at
the
all.
athleticism of it. I just,
yeah, I mean, it's cross country with a ball, but I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm good. I'm fine. Maybe if we did this with playoff hockey, I would.
Oh, hello.
Totally. I'm up there. I'm for it.
Housing is provided. You will be in a transparent plexiglass cube on the street.
I was going to say,
Whoa.
That is insane, by the way. I was going to say if housing and food wasn't provided, you're going to blow through that $50,000 in New York in the 37 days. That's just, wow. Place is very expensive to live. Second and final story.
Big mystery in Boston, a bakery offering rewards in the form of baked goods as a reward for the safe return of the eatery's mascot, a large plastic ice cream cone named Swirly. A fixture outside of Flower Bakery on the Boston Common was initially feared that, hey, oh no, our ice cream cone blew away during the winter. And they came back, they opened it up, and now they believe that it's been stolen.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I will say this. When you said a Boston mystery, I said immediately in my head, go, starring Ben Affleck? Is that what I mean.
Maybe that was the next heist in the town, too.
They need to make another Boston movie. I need a Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, Casey Affleck. I need Jeremy Renner in it. I need Seth Meyers in this movie.
Whoa.
I need all Boston. I need all the Boston act. I need a big Boston movie. That's what I want. I want a BBM, a big Boston movie.
Okay.
You know, maybe get Kimmel in there. I don't know. I just want Boston. I just want Bostonians. That's all I want.
Jay Leno.
It's just a bunch of guys from Boston in a movie. Bunch of meaty men slapping meat, you know, as Big E would say. I want a
friend of the show.
I want a bunch of Boston men on my TV screen. Just doing Boston things.
John Cena.
I hate how Matt says Affleck. It's not the insurance company. Sorry, Ben Affleck.
There you go.
It's Matt Hasselbeck.
Pronounce every word correctly.
Sorry, I try my best, man. We try our best here on Middays with Matt. We're going to try and give you some positivity coming up here about Husker football. Oh my God. Really? Here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network. Hey, we want to remind you to enter online at 1620thezone.com for the Peak Playoffs giveaway. The winner will receive a $250 gift card to Twin Peaks. And we also want to remind you, too, that if you want to go to George Thorogood and the Destroyers with the Marshall Tucker Band, they're in the Metro this week. It's the baddest show on earth tour, Sunday, May 17th at the Astro Amphitheater. You can get tickets to that event by listening to Unsportsmanlike Conduct all week for a chance to win your way to the show. Brett McMurphy, outside of wishing head coaches across the country birthdays, loves nothing more than giving us bowl projections.
Yeah, he does.
Okay?
He does do that.
You know what?
And I do click it.
He's a bit of a nut. Okay, let's just call spade a spade. He's a bit of a nut. You know, we can say that. We can say some people are a little bit different here.
It can be a term of endearment.
It can be. In this case, admittedly, not really.
Oh, no.
You guys just kind of weird, you know, but
Tried to be positive.
here's my one thing. I'm okay with you being weird if you commit to it, you know? Like if that's just how you are and you really commit to it and that's just and you embrace it, I'm way more likely to respect you about it. I think is the best way to pronounce that. And so Brett McMurphy, outside of saying, "Hey, head coach, happy 54th birthday," he loves.
He's the 7th youngest coach in the pack in the I don't know, name a conference.
I met him one time in New Orleans. You know, outside of doing that, he loves telling you that Boise State and UNLV are going to take on each other at the Poinsettia Bowl in San Diego, California, and that the Xbox Bowl is going to be Miami of Ohio taking on North Texas. Nebraska is projected to be in a bowl game. Let's go.
That's 3 in a row, baby.
I got a little nervous, okay, because I scrolled through Mr. Brett McMurphy's schedule or his bowl projections, and I did not see Nebraska at first. I was a little bit nervous.
You just got to control F that thing.
And then I did control F that thing. I sometimes like, though, scrolling through and see if I can find things naturally.
I get it.
Before I control F. I don't want to just go right to the source sometimes. I don't know. People are people. He has them playing Ole Miss and Pete Golding in the Music City Bowl in Nashville. Now,
wow.
I did a little bit of digging.
That would be.
Let me get there.
Okay.
Let me get there.
Okay.
I did a little bit of digging. I was curious, like you are kind of inferring here. What are the records of the teams that go to the Music City Bowl? Typically, that's a pretty decent bowl. Typically, you got some pretty good teams. Last year was Illinois versus Tennessee. Illinois was 9-4 last year. Well, sorry, they were 8-4 before they won the Music City Bowl. So they were an 8-4 team taking on a Tennessee team that was 8-4. Okay, now the year before that, it was Iowa versus Missouri. Iowa was 8-4, and they played a Missouri team that actually entered that game ranked. That Missouri team was 9-3 at the Music City Bowl. The year before that was Maryland versus Auburn. Maryland in 2023 was 7-5 before they won the game at the Music City Bowl and finished the season with 8 wins. Auburn in 2023, before playing in that bowl, they were 6-6. So that was a down year for the Music City Bowl. And then in 2022, it was Iowa versus Kentucky. Kentucky heading into that contest was 7-5, and Iowa heading into that game was 7-5 as well. So we've seen the last 2 seasons, teams have been 8-4 or 7-5. The lowest record we found was 6-6 Auburn in 2023. So
kind of a wide range.
A bit, but as of late, the last 4 teams to play in the Music City Bowl had 8 wins for heading into that one. So kind of interesting there in terms of Brett McMurphy hinting at you a little bit of he's projecting Nebraska potentially finishing the 7-8 win range, which 7-5 is kind of like, all right, you're more on the positive side when it comes to Nebraska football. 8-4 is planting a flag. I was saying, yeah, I'm confident that this team is going to be very good.
I was just about to ask you, 8-4 Music City Bowl against Ole Miss. Would you sign on that dotted line right now, or take any other possibility? No. I think I would too. Yeah,
I would sign immediately.
Yep.
I would take it with a bullet. I would be like, because that. And so if you finish 8-4, right? that means that you lost to Oregon, Indiana, Ohio State.
Yep.
But you beat 2 of Washington, Illinois, Iowa. I think Washington's going to be a good team this year. I think Washington legitimately is going to be a good football team. I believe in Jed Fish. I understand that people are afraid with the whole DeMond Williams situation and whether or not that's going to blow back up in their face with all the drama that went on. I think Washington's going to end up being pretty good. I'm pretty thankful that game is in Lincoln and not in Seattle. I would take that. I would totally take a season where Nebraska beats Illinois and Iowa.
Yeah, 8-4, Music City Bowl.
I'd take
You're
that.
beating Iowa more than likely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That is progress. That is without a doubt progress. That is beating every team you should beat, which I've always come back to this. Like Nebraska, there was a lot of problems with Scott, right? And
yes,
there was a lot. But the thing about Scott was it wasn't that Scott couldn't get over the hump. Scott couldn't get to the hump. He literally couldn't get to the hump. Like when you talk about
because that's what he was trying to get to and he wasn't supposed to be coaching football, but allegedly. It was right there, Matt. I'm sorry.
Bang yourself. Please bang yourself. Please bang yourself.
Bang yourself. Where is it?
It's right there. We haven't used it in a while. Go to the right, go to the right, go to the right, go to the right, and up.
Oh, this is terrible.
You're dancing around it. It's right in the middle.
Sorry. That one's on me, everybody.
God, finally somebody takes some responsibility on this show.
A slow bang. That was me.
That very rarely happens.
I know. Trust me.
We're very used to the quick ones. Like that.
I'm efficient.
See, look, I used the bang to make a bang. You can call that a double bang. Yeah, the other show stole that where they actually have the double bang thing. Such a Peterson move to put it.
People know
who started the bang here. Mm-hmm. But anyway, yeah, I would take that. I would take 8-4 going to the Music City Bowl very quickly because you would beat the teams that you were supposed to beat, which hasn't necessarily been easy for Nebraska football over the last decade. And then you would beat. I mean, you are more than likely going to be an underdog on the road against Illinois. You will probably be an underdog on the road against Iowa. To beat Iowa and Illinois on the road to get to 8 wins would be quite remarkable.
All right, let me add.
I mean, maybe remarkable might be pushing it, but it would be. I would call it an accomplishment. I would say you've accomplished something.
Let me add a little wrinkle into this. Same stakes. 8-4, Music City Bowl, Ole Miss. The 4 losses are by 40 points.
Fine.
Okay.
Fine. Like you get blown out by
I mean, uncompetitive. Just
that's a great caveat.
Stinker. Yeah,
that's a great caveat.
Because some people aren't even like win total guys. They're like, I just need to see competitive.
But
football.
if you are giving me 2 of 3 wins over Iowa and Washington, and Illinois, I will take it. Like, I think that is a situation where it's just like, okay, yes, you got to be better against the top teams. Like, that's when you kind of, I'm totally fine with that happening because then you adjust the seat and say, all right, new goal, right? Get to the next level. But before you get to the next level, you got to get to the level below that, right? I mean, it's called incremental progress. And so, yeah, while that would suck and that would not be fun, I think that if you are currently, Josh, offering me right now what we would, without a doubt, consider incremental progress, I would take it. I would take it. The question that really needs to be asked is if you gave me 7-5 Music City Bowl, would I take it? Would I take 7-5 Music City Bowl? I don't think I would.
Ooh.
I
think I would.
You think you would?
Mm-hmm.
If the win is over Iowa, hey, 7-5 with a win over Iowa, I would be more tempted than 7-5 and win over Washington. Because then you would be like, oh, you still lost to Iowa. You still didn't beat any of the good teams. And Brett Bielema, how has he built a better program?
Just there'd be such a long 5 weeks in the middle where you're waiting for that 6th win. Indiana, Oregon, bye week, Washington, Illinois.
But Josh, that might be the reality. Like that might be what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. Nebraska could go from October 3rd to November 14th without having a win.
Yeah.
Not only is that on the table, the odds would actually tell you that's likely that's probably more likely to happen. Well, I mean, I guess that's a different type of math, but you will be an underdog versus Indiana, Oregon, Illinois for sure. Washington, dependent on how the Huskies are walking into Memorial. That is kind of the wild card game.
We love a wild card.
I kind of know what to expect from every game except the Washington game. Like, I think Washington holds the cards of having a potentially very interesting season. I outside of that, I think I kind of know what I'm getting with everybody else. John goes, with where Rule has this team, there are only 3 games on the schedule that Nebraska should win. I think I'm using the term should win.
3?
I mean, I just think if you're a favorite, and especially if you're a pretty sizable favorite, we mark that down as the territory of like, you should win that game. I'm curious to see what the line will be for the Michigan State game. That's you know what? You could call that a wild card game too.
Oh,
like I knowing Fitz like I know him, I do not expect Michigan State to be very good this year.
Michigan State has Toledo, Eastern Michigan at Notre Dame ahead of Nebraska.
Wow, what a real murderer's row.
Yeah, I don't know why I read that aloud, but
we should, you know what? That's a summer segment. We should go through all of the Big Ten teams' non-conference schedules.
Love it.
Not a Bill Simmons summer segment. A Bill Simmons summer segment would be if we rank the top 8. You know, we'll do that. That's our Bill Simmons summer segment. We're going to rank the top 8 non-conference schedules from the Big Ten.
After this ad from Stamps.com, we'll go through the sliding doors of Nebraska's 2026 season.
Dude, say what you want about BS. Has there ever been anybody in advertising history that read a Coke ad that was followed by a Pepsi ad?
I can't imagine.
I'm sure, insane.
I mean, gosh.
Can you, that'd be like reading a LinkedIn ad and then reading an Indeed ad, you know?
And then ZipRecruiter plays when you go to break.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's like your Infinity Stones of job recruitment. All balanced.
You got hired, but what did it cost you? Everything.
That is a common question that we're asking college students nowadays. You got hired. What did it cost? Everything. My dignity, my integrity. But let's talk about Nebraska and getting to 8-4.
Let's.
Is it impossible? No, it is not. It is not impossible. I actually think it's more likely than we're giving it credit for. Am I saying that Nebraska's going to win 8 games?
Matt said Nebraska would go 8-4.
I did not say that. I'm not predicting that either. Okay? Don't put it on the internet that I'm predicting them to go 8-4. I'm saying that I would tell you I am curious to if we had a poll question like what are the percentage chances that Nebraska goes 8-4 this year? We put that out there.
Mom, come down here. Matt said the Nebraska would go 8-4.
That's not what I said. I didn't say that.
Mom, meatloaf.
I love meatloaf. When was the last time you had meatloaf?
Great question. I'm sure my wife made it sometime during the winter months.
Do you put does she put like veggies in the meatloaf? Like like she puts it in the loaf of meat?
I don't believe so. Onions.
Onions and carrots. Yeah. And so you like
no
cut
carrots,
it and you get
carrots.
Well, you said that very emphatically. Are you not a carrot man?
No, we just don't cook with a lot
of
carrots.
Are you not carrot maxing?
No, I don't think I am.
Poll question. Anyway, I think that if we were to poll the fan base right now and say, what are the chances that Nebraska would go 8-4? I think that percentage would be pretty low. And I'm confident that I would probably have it 5% higher than what people would go ahead and vote. I would guess that number would probably, what would you say? 15 to 20% of people would say. Maybe 10 to 15 would probably be more accurate. I really don't know the question, but I do think it's more I think I would give them, and this is just going off of my temperature of the fan base, I think I would give Nebraska a higher chance, a slightly higher chance of going 8-4 than maybe the public would. And I think if you broke down this team from a positive, optimistic standpoint, I do think that there are some things to be really excited about. I'm really excited about the wide receiver room. I think that this wide receiver room has a really, really good mix, man, of production, of guys who have played at the D1 Power 5 level, who have proven to be game changers at times. Quasi Gilmore has had games where he is an impact player. Ja'Cory Barney has had games where he's been an impact player. And Isaiah Hunter has had games that he's been an impact player. You know, you have a really interesting mix with those top three of guys who have performed at a very impressive level, but also can get better and have the attributes and traits to improve. And I think with Ja'Cory, man, it's just like if he could be a little bit more durable, and if he could have, you know, some better contact balance, right? I mean, I think that Ja'Cory left a lot of yards on the table by just kind of getting knocked over a little bit too easily, right? And especially as the season went on. And I'll tell you this right now, you could say whatever you want about Ja'Cory Barney, and I've had opinions on him that, you know, at times he plays more like a 2 wide receiver than he does a number 1 wide receiver. But I will never, ever, ever question that young man's toughness. I will never question his competitiveness. I will never question whether or not he wants to be great or just win. And I think you mix that with an Isaiah Hunter who, I mean, there were moments where it's like, that guy, you put the ball in his hands, he's the most dynamic dude they have. I'm excited about this wide receiving core. I think Mike Schaefer, if he was sitting here right now talking to me, he would be like, do you trust the man who's calling the plays to get the ball into those guys' hands? I'll say this, I trust him a lot less now than I did prior to the season, for sure. I don't think that, I mean, Happer and Schaefer did a great job. I think, first off, that show's great. And I listened to a lot of the show today, and they did a really, really good job of talking about the Minnesota game. And we go through and like, I'm at the point now where I'm looking at the games and I'm looking at the box scores and I'm remembering, and I kind of look at the game and I remember some of the plays and I remember the results, and I'm trying to kind of repiece the season in my head a little bit, right? And find some commonalities between the games that they won and the games that they lost, and maybe storylines that were embedded that we were really hammering at the time, but as the season and as the days have progressed, we've forgotten about. And a lot of the games kind of line up, except for the Minnesota game. The Minnesota game just makes no sense. It makes zero sense. It does not. It was just a horrid game, a bad game plan, bad execution, just, you know, a lot of the parts of the team left other parts of the team out to dry. And then the comments afterwards of like, I tried to tell the guys that this is a game that, you know, you got to take more seriously. Like, yucky. Just, yeah, I get the heebie-jeebies, you know, but like, I think though that you look at this wide receiver core and you're like, they have enough there where if they can come into every game and have a proper game plan and identify matchups and say, this is what we're going to do to get these guys this ball, that I think they can find some explosiveness and high impact plays on offense. And then I think I haven't even talked about the young guys. I think Cortez Mills is a guy that should have played more. Like the moments that I saw from him, you know, obviously in the run blocking game, I think it was pretty clear that they were putting him out there way more when they were passing than they were running. If you look at the PFF snap splits, like they trusted him definitely more in the passing game than they did for him as a blocker in the run game. And that was kind of just based off of how they were using him and when he was out there. But I think he's ultra talented. I think he could be a real game changer. I think Quinn Clark, Keelan Smith are guys that you heard about in the spring that are really coming on. I think this wide receiver group has a really good mix of talent and a really good mix of production. I'm excited about, you know, I think Anthony Calandria, man, it's a big if, but it's really going to be the second time they're going to do this. They tried doing this before, where they took a guy that was an explosive athlete who had a ton of potential but turnover problems. And the idea was, if we can strip that away and we can harness that talent, he could be a game-changing type player. And the difference between Anthony and the Jeff Sims is Anthony had the season of being the Mountain West Player of the Year and knows conceptually what it looks like to be a game changer. And I'm very curious, now that Dana is here, what have they learned from the failure of trying to fix Jeff Sims? How are they going to adjust that? And how have they learned from that to basically do the same concept with Anthony Calandria? And I think that the type of athlete that he is and the type of plays that he made, especially at UNLV, you mix that explosiveness with what they can have in the wide receiver room, and then you also mix that with the raw talent and then the also added experience of Justin Evans and Brendan Black. And I really like what Elijah Pritchett did at the end of the year. You're not going to find me being overly optimistic about the running back room just because that's way more hypotheticals, right, than it is anything else that I've talked about. But I think you can legitimately look at this offense, close your eyes, and start saying, okay, I can see how they can be good. Like I could see how they could score a lot of points. I could see the speed.
Over the first 3 or 4 games, can they gel enough to kind of improv for the rest of the season? Calandria is going to extend the play.
Yeah.
Can the receivers okay, he's going to expect me to go here? All those types of things.
It's a lot of, and look, they don't have a proven P5 superstar. Okay. They don't have a guy where they don't have an Emmett Johnson. They don't have a Jeremiah Love. They don't have an Ahmad Hardy. They don't have a Jeremiah Smith or a Malachi Toney or a Nick Marsh or any of these guys that you look and be like, wow, that's a game changer, MFer, All-American, holy crap guy. Okay. And yeah, that's a concern. And that is going to be a main theme and topic for me until the cows go home. But I think that you can optimistically look at this offense, close your eyes and say, I could see how they can be dynamic. I could see how they can be fast. I could see how they can take a big step. You can see it.
Got to let Holgo be Holgo too.
But Holgo's gotta say that to himself. You know, he's got to do that too.
Got to look yourself in the mirror in the morning and go, "I'm Dana Holgerson." Damn it.
You look at the defensive side of the ball. I think the secondary is going to be really good again. I think Addison Williams is a hell of a coach. I'm getting a little excited about what I'm hearing about Jeremiah Charles. The way that Michael talks about Jeremiah Charles, and he's a hell of an athlete. I mean, he was recruited because of his athleticism. He was one of the first guys they really grabbed and said, "Hey, we'll teach you how to play football. Like you got it. You got it, baby. You got it. You couldn't buy it. You could sell it if you wanted to. You are it, baby. You are it." Look at that letter. The American dream doth the road. All right. They looked at Jeremiah and they go, all right, you're elite, dude. Like, you're an athlete. We'll teach you how to play football. I'm interested to see if that comes together in the secondary. But it's going to be, I think, a solid secondary with a really great coach, with Andrew Marshall. I think that was such a big pickup for them last year. That one other guy that kind of went a little bit under the radar, of like, all right, they got this cornerback from Idaho that might be able to help them in special teams, and he ends up being a very high impact player in the secondary. I really like what they have, like from a measurable perspective and just from a team perspective. I think the linebacker room is it is the best linebacker room they've had at Nebraska since Matt Rule has been here. I mean, I think you can say that fairly confidently. It's all going to come down to the D-line. And when we do the pessimistic angle tomorrow, it's going to be a lot about the D-line. It's going to just be a lot about we're gambling here that these guys are going to take the next step and these guys are going to be better. But I am encouraged by the fact that the last time that Nebraska made an outside hire that was fully based on the merits of how exceptional their defense was the year before and allowed that coach to come in and implement their specific system, they found a lot of success. And the defenses hadn't been as good, right, since they went with that strategy. They did that strategy with Tony White. They're doing that strategy with Rob Orich. I think just based on what we saw in the past, right, we're going off of history. That could be the means and could be the recipe of having a better defense this year. I still think it's like I can be as positive and optimistic as I possibly can, and I just can't imagine or confidently say that they're going to beat Oregon, Indiana, or Ohio State. It's going to take a Herculean effort. and for them to play their best game and catch one of those teams, off, which happens. It happens to everybody else. It would be really nice if it happened to Nebraska one time. Seems like everybody else just lucks into teams being completely dog water when they play them and they play a perfect game. It'd be really, really cool if that happened in Nebraska. So
it would.
It could be nice. It could be very nice. But that's the one thing where it's like, oh, I'm sick and tired of hearing about the schedule, and I'm tired of talking about the schedule. Like, well, I'll say this: like, this team could be a lot better this year than they were last year, and they could end up winning one more game. They could be exponentially better.
You've talked about that at different points throughout the offseason.
They could be way better this year than they were last year and only have one more win. They could easily, and this might be maybe not the most likely outcome, but this is something that definitely could happen. They could just be straight up better this year than what they were last year and win the same amount of games. You could maybe even make the argument, Josh Hodson, that they could be better this year than they were last year and lose one more game.
Mm-hmm.
You might be, now the scores would have to be specific and everything like that, but like I think this is a more interesting season overall than maybe people are gonna give it credit for. But the vibes are what the vibes are.
You've listed quite a few things to be positive about, quite a few things. I thought you were going to have to dig a little deeper, but no, I'm positive about this position group. I'm positive about this position group.
They're a counter. They're counters.
I thought it was going to be like, well, they looked apart.
I will never say that.
I know.
I will never say that. I will never subject our great listeners to that lazy take, ever. All right. Coming up next, let's talk about the NHL draft lottery. Not about what happened specifically, but I want to throw out some couple hypotheticals here, which we'll have a good time before Wacky Guess Wednesday, baby. 1:00. We got a wacky guest. Don't know who it's going to be except for Josh Hodson. We find out at 1 p.m. here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network. This would be probably an appropriate day to have the bump weed and start the fire.
We didn't.
Not this time. We have been we should make that's our nickname, the fire starters. We have kind of been some fire starters sometimes. Not this time. We started the fire last week. We did not start the fire this week. We did lose though. We lost baby back bitches.
Yes.
We lost.
We did.
We
did.
I predicted on Monday, every Monday we do baby back bitches. We're going to predict
New segment.
what we're going to bitch about in Husker football in the upcoming week. I predicted we would bitch about the extension. Still on the table, by the way, not completely out. We tried getting that going. That's the fire we did try to start, if we're being honest. And it did not work out. I actually went back and listened to it yesterday as what you predicted. I forgot. Do you remember what you specifically predicted? I went back specifically to watch, and I rewatched it, and I totally forgot.
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, we were both wrong. We did not predict Trey Taylor. And
didn't see that one coming.
Peer recruiting. You know what? I was really, when I went back and I watched and I was giving you the examples, I was hoping I dropped like a Trey Taylor example, if you will.
So you could claim being correct?
Well, no, not claim. No. Don't put it out there that Matt just wants to be right. That's not the truth, at least for right now. I actually did bring up Jeff Sims, which still on the table. So we did not win baby back pitches, both 0-1 this time. One thing that did happen yesterday that I thoroughly enjoyed, the NHL draft lottery kind of rocks, you know? Now
that sound you hear is the audience rolling their eyes.
Come on! What do you mean?
The NHL draft lottery.
It was fun. It was a fun time. It was a good time. I watched it at a bar. It was entertaining. It was enjoyable.
Okay. What was enjoyable?
Did you not watch the lottery?
No, there were games on.
So Gary Bettman was with this random doofus looking guy. I have no idea. Look it up. Look up who Bettman's crew at was.
That could be
was
anyone at an NHL
Dude,
event.
It was crazy. I was like, how the hell do you? So his job was he just had a big old control panel and he just pressed the button and then they would shoot the ball up. And that was his job, was the control panel pusher. So like when the clock ran out.
So they've made it a little more theatrical.
So they got Bettman, this random dude, and John Buccigross. And then they have these two other people who I don't know who they are. They look like they work at E&Y. And there's a big clock in the right-hand corner. And the clock will tick down, 15, 14, whatever. And then they will point at the guy with the panel. So they'll point at him. He'll hit a button, and then the ball comes up, okay? And then you get live odds of like, hey, how did that number affect the pool?
Oh, okay.
You know, of like, hey, originally this team had a 25% odds of winning this. The 7 popped up, their odds have dropped to 13, right? So it's kind of entertaining. Like you're seeing live how the numbers are affecting things. And then you get down to the final ball, right? Where it's like you have 12 balls and they give you every number. If it's a 6, the Hawks win. If it's a 4, the Calgary Flames win. If it's 1, 4, 8, or 1, 4, or 11, Vancouver gets it. And then they hit the final ball and it comes up and they pull it out and they go, Toronto, you win. It was pretty good. It was entertaining. They took something that, you know, relatively should be boring and not really that big of a deal. And they made it theatrical, which I give them a ton of credit for. It immediately got me to think, though, like.
And it works as an event that can be watched at a bar with no sound.
Exactly. And you can just turn, it's another event. Now, the NBA draft lottery, I believe, is on Sunday.
Sunday, yes.
Now, Toronto ended up winning the draft lottery. Okay. They actually had traded their first round pick away, but if they had gotten in the top 5, they kept their pick. So they kept their pick. Gavin McKenna might be the pick to go to Toronto. It's a big deal. He's a name that everybody has known for the last couple of years, ever since he's like been in high school, that this kid was probably going to be the number 1 overall pick. He's now going to go and join Oscar Matthews and what is basically the Dallas Cowboys of hockey. His jersey, if drafted, will fly off like hotcakes. It'll be a very, very big deal. And if you were to rig the lottery, you would have rigged it giving Toronto the number 1 overall pick. And I would actually make the argument that if you were to really rig it, you would have given the second overall pick, which will probably be Ivar Stenberg, who's another very, very good prospect. You would give him to San Jose to go and give Macklin Celebrini a partner in crime because Celebrini is.
I thought you were going to say your Chicago Blackhawks.
No, we already have Nazer. We already have a lot of young guys. We've been gifted plenty of opportunities to draft very good prospects.
Connor Bedard.
I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, if they were to rig this thing, I need to know. Like, how would you do it? I think that would be the ultimate 30 for 30. I think that would be the ultimate if they
rigging the ping pong balls.
If they got somebody to admit, all right, this is how we did it. This is how we got Zion to New Orleans and Ja to Memphis and RJ to New York, and the Lakers are going to get Anthony Davis. This was our plan. This is why we did it. This is how we execute it. This is what we were aiming for, and this was the result. Here's who we screwed over in the process as well. That would be one of the greatest 30 for 30s of all time. If they told you, all right, there was a frozen envelope. This is how we got Ewing to the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
This was the plan, and this was the discussion, and this is why we did it. I think that would be one of the greatest 30 for 30s of all time. It would never happen. By the way, you can't convince me that in the history of draft-based lotteries that there's never been a rigging before. I don't think you straight face can tell me right now, look me in the eyes and tell me we have never, ever rigged one lottery to get a team or a player to a specific team.
I just did a sim of the NBA draft lottery on tankathon.com.
Yeah.
And Dallas jumped 7 spots to get the number 1 overall pick.
Can I be real with you?
Please.
I think it's the Bulls here.
They have a 20% chance at a top 4 pick.
I think it's the Bulls here.
4.5% to get the number 1 overall pick.
I think it's the Bulls here to get the number 1 overall pick. It's been quite a while
to naturally get the number 1 pick, or to have it
rigged.
Okay.
Come on. You think they let these things go?
You can't let a good player go to the Washington Wizards.
There are some lotteries you do not rig.
Mm-hmm.
There are some you do not touch. You don't need to touch. It does not matter. Denny Advia can go anywhere. Okay. There are some lotteries you have to. You just have to. All right. You got to make sure that this guy goes to this team because we want this to happen. This is one of them. This, objectively, without a doubt, hands down, is a lottery you rig.
Just clicked it again. Atlanta Hawks get the number 1 pick. Indiana 2. Washington 3.
What if we stole Happer and Schaefer's bid and we did lottery sim of the day?
It's very satisfying to me to just
simulations are great.
Yeah,
you know,
I never did it on video games, but like, what a time.
You ever do sim racing before?
No.
Where you do like a 70 lap race with pit stops
and you just sim the whole thing?
You're racing, so I guess it's a little bit different, but it's like you're actually driving the car and like the car is reacting to what it would like.
Okay.
Like in lap 30, it's way harder to turn than it would be in lap 1 because your tires have worn down. It's actually very satisfying. Here's another. I thought of this idea in bed last night.
Memphis, Utah Thunder 1, 2, 3.
I just keep talking and you keep simming and telling me. Okay. Here's who I really want a 30 for 30 on. And maybe I should have looked this up to make sure it doesn't already exist. Scott Boras. I want a Scott Boras 30 for 30.
Okay.
You can't tell me that wouldn't be a wildly interesting 30 for 30. About the man, the super agent who basically has represented some of the best players ever in baseball history. And when a player goes ahead and signs with Boras and he now becomes their agent, it's a notable topic within the sport. When has it ever been notable really in sports to be like, oh, this guy signed with this agent? The only two I can really, really think of are Scott Boras and Rich Paul, which you don't have to doubt that they'll make a Rich Paul documentary at some point, it'll be produced by him and LeBron.
Okay, yeah, that's going to happen.
But a Scott Boras, like, what if I told you the most important person in baseball wasn't on the field? That the only pinstripes he wore were the ones on his suit. Come on. You don't think that'd be
That's not bad.
Come on.
That's not bad.
That'd be pretty good.
That's got good bones.
Yeah. It's got a foundation. It's there. You know? And then do you know all of his clients that they could bring it? That would be a star-studded lineup of guys who could come in and be like, you know, can you imagine sitting Chris Bryant down and being like, this is how he ripped off the Colorado Rockies?
I knew I was never going to play baseball again.
Yeah. Can you imagine sitting Carlos Correa goes, all right, this is how we got this deal with the Twins. I mean,
he's out for the season.
Yeah, I did see that. The other day. Couldn't happen to a better guy.
Indiana, Utah, Brooklyn. Golden State in 4.
Indiana getting the number 1 pick.
I know.
There would be some real, I mean.
Eventually, Halliburton's going to lose the weight, come back, and be effective again.
Cody Bellinger, Juan Soto, Matt Chapman, Blake Snell, Bregman, Cease, Pete Alonso, Hyunjin Ryu, Anthony Rendon, Garrett Cole, Steve Strasburg, Xander Bogaerts, Mike Trout. I actually don't think he had. I don't know if he did have Trout. He had Harper. That's what he had. He had Bryce Harper. Jose Altuve, Manny Machado, Eric Hosmer. It'd be a great 30 for 30. You can't convince me otherwise.
Okay, so not specifically what you did. In 2011, they had a 30 for 30 called The Dotted Line, directed by Morgan Spurlock, who directed Super Size Me about McDonald's.
Oh, yeah. I watched that.
It was a 30
great.
for 30 about sports agents, not specifically Boris, but
I want a Boris specific.
Featured Michael Jordan's agent, David Falk, Peter Greenberg, and Eugene Lee.
What if I told you games weren't won on the diamond, but instead in his office?
Number 1 in the boardroom. 30 for 30 presents
Big Deal Boris.
Big Deal Boris.
Yeah.
Streaming exclusively on ESPN Plus.
Or ESPN Unlimited for
ESPN
$29.99, which I canceled. See ya.
He's out.
Like wife 1 and therapist number 7. I bid you adieu.
Just want to remind everybody, like ESPN or your favorite radio show or station, you don't have, or it's not an airport. You don't have to announce your departure.
Let's hit a break, and then I'm going to bitch about something, and then we can have Wacky Guess Wednesday. Does that sound good to you?
Memphis, Indiana, Dallas. Washington has not won this one single time I've done this.
Sounds great to me. Here on Middays with Matt. Nothing worse than like when you go to a bar and you're like, "This is my drink," and they're like, "Oh, we're out." Happened to me 2 weeks ago. Went to my Irish spot. And they go, "Guinness machine not working," and I looked them dead in the eye and I go, "How dare you?"
Whoa.
Not really. I mean, I knew him. Sam's a great guy, but I was like, "Sam, what do you mean? What do you mean? You're an Irish bar. What do you mean you don't have the Guinness going? How can that be possible? How's that fit? It's outrageous. It's unfair."
The bad man can't hurt you anymore.
No, it can't. I just see Sindelar and PC. They're just bitching and moaning and complaining. And I want to bitch and moan real quick. So apparently we're on the road to a 2014 playoff in college football. Like that's kind of where we're headed. It seems inevitable at this point that we're going to
maximum participation.
Just want to make this very clear. When making the playoffs no longer is an accomplishment, that's when you know you have too many playoff teams. Right? When it's no longer, hey, hell yeah, man, you made the playoffs, hell yeah. When it's no longer that, and it's just like, oh, okay, whatever, you're supposed to do that. That's when you know you've jumped the shark. We've just added too many teams. Now, seems like college football coaches want the season to end 2 weeks into January. Thank God. Thank God. We cannot go. We cannot sustain having college football like the halfway point in terms of days is like in November. We just can't do that. By the time you get to like January 25th, your team hasn't been playing for 2 months more than likely. It's almost as if like the national championship, like it just got to the point where it's like, all right, the two schools who are in it really, really care. At this point, I know that college football is done already. I've already mourned the end of college football for multiple weeks at this point. So if they go ahead and they end the season earlier, that'd be great. But 24, come on. What do we think the highest national champion would ever be ranked? Like what would the over-under be? 14 and a half, 15 and a half? Who is the highest champion to ever be ranked heading into the playoff? What is the highest we can go?
8.
Well, Miami made it as a 10.
Yeah, that's true.
I think 8 to 10 was the perfect amount. I just don't see the 15th. Who was the 16th team of the country last year? Like I don't see that team winning the national championship. But it's once again we have now gone into the pattern of like, why do we do this? Well, we all know it's because of TV and it's because of money, and I think it's just it's just incredible. It's the same thing with like the NCAA expansion, right? Of the NCAA tournament for basketball. They are just unapologetic, completely unapologetic for just doing things that not necessarily catering to the fan, but catering to their pockets. We love to cater to fans here on Middays with Matt. That's why coming up next, Wacky Guest Wednesday, baby.
Whoa.
I don't know who the guest is. Josh knows who the guest is. You'll find out along with me. Coming up next here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network. Do we have a wacky guest?
Oh, we got a wacky guest. Joining us in the stream right now from Lincoln. One of Matt's many mentors.
Yeah, actually.
It is the great Jack Mitchell.
Jack, how are you, man?
I'm fine. How are you?
How do you feel being labeled as one of my mentors? Is that a proud thing for you? Is that a confusing thing for you? What is?
I mean, why don't we give it a few years and I'll let you know then.
Am I good enough to be on your coaching tree? I'm not. I haven't reached the level to be there yet.
Let's just see how this thing is. Let's see how this plays out, and then we'll decide on that.
What is your coaching tree? Do you have a current coaching tree?
There definitely is a media radio. There is a media tree, I think, in radio, right? Like I'm descended, and I'm very proud to be this today. What a day to be descended from the John Bishop tree.
Yes,
which you have a little. I mean, because you're one of my descendants, you at least are partly in that tree as well.
That is true. Our leaves are touching. That is true.
Right. So yeah, I think we could make this and make the whole. Like, do you know how they have like the posters you can buy of like all of the beer types, like the
yes.
You could do it. You could do like a map. You could do,
I think we should do that and then have everybody take like fancy ass pictures like they do with fancy ass family trees, just like everybody posing like Victorian, like into a camera, and then we trickle down where everybody came from. I think that'd be a good summer project for you.
I am among the old man interest that I have taken up, which has been a real thing for me for the last year. I have really made a jump in doing things I never ever thought I would be interested in. So I'm just warning you, it's about late 40s when it hits.
Okay.
I have been really interested in delving into like family trees and like ancestry and stuff. Yeah.
What did you discover?
I didn't know there's so there's this website. It's called Family Search, and like I thought you had to pay for all these services, but the Mormon Church maintains all these records, and like people have gone in and like you can. It's like wildly complete. It's insane. I spent an entire day on it once. Yeah, you've got to look this up.
Entire day? Okay.
Yeah, when I first learned what it was. Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, you've. So once you get yourself and like you can get it. So you have to look someone up that you're related to, and then you can like enter yourself in if nobody else has. And then like you can look at it, makes this like fan. It goes up like 6 generations. It color codes what country they were born in.
My God, that's incredible. I'm on this right now. I'm currently signing up.
You can do this thing where you can find out who the most famous people you're related to are.
Oh, who's the most famous person you're related to?
Mine sucked.
What? Were they like an extra like Malcolm in the Middle?
It was like British royalty. It was like old.
That's not bad.
Which I didn't even know. You look at my fan of people, and it's all the same color because they're all Dutch. Everyone's Dutch.
Well,
except there's one at the very top that came from Germany, and the rest are Dutch.
Okay, be careful there.
Right? No, but there was one. I mean, it was like we're talking like the 1800s, but like we're way back from there. No, it's like, and my wife, like she did the same thing, and she looked at it, and I already knew this one.
Yeah.
But her one of hers is like not far away is John Wayne. Like,
wow.
Like, and this is like not like he was like her grandpa's cousin. Like it was like not. In fact, if you John Wayne's real name is Marion Morrison. Okay, you can look that up. That's and my wife's maiden name is Morrison.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why she switched. I wouldn't have switched off of her name to
you would have been Wayne.
Whatever her last name is now, I would not have switched to that.
That is so I'm signing up for this right now. I am incredibly curious as to what
you may not even need to be old to like get way. You better like set aside some time if you're somebody who can get lost in something.
I definitely can. I'm just more curious as to who my most famous, because I don't really know. Like, I feel like if somebody were to be really, really famous in my family, that I would.
Yeah,
know.
You won't know. I mean, it has this tool on there where you can just like, it'll tell you your most closest.
Jack,
you can
what
also
was the website again?
It's called FamilySearch.org.
Okay.
Yeah, .org.
Because
And,
I have now made an account, and I am entered, and I have put my name in as Matt McMaster.
Also, if you've ever suspected you're related to someone, you can type them in if you find them, and it'll show you how you're related to them.
That's incredible. I mean, there probably is a chance that I'm like related to some famous Spanish.
Well, you've got a super interest. Yeah, you don't have this. I mean, no offense to me, but you don't have this super boring all one country in Europe background. Like,
no, you're white. You're your last name. Your name is not actually legally Jack Mitchell, but
it's Jack Vanda Mitchell. We just cut that stuff out. It's.
Is there any other weird hobbies that you've taken up in your life? Is this just one?
Oh no, there's tons of them. Like I have gone on to like I tweeted about this today. So in about 2017 or 2018,
okay,
like I said, okay, the future is here. Everything is in the cloud and subscription based. There's no need. All of these CDs that I had, they're just taking up space. All of this. I had my dad's stereo equipment that from the 70s and 80s. I was like, this is crap. It's not Bluetooth. And like I threw it all. I either donated it, I got rid of it. I was in a minimizing mood. And I don't know if you've heard this, Matt, and Gen Z is even a part of it, that physical media is back.
Yeah, big time. Like we love going like raiding old Radio Shacks and like getting a bunch of like old stuff.
So I guess this used to be an old person thing to do, but now everyone does it. Like I will go to Goodwill twice a week. And it's not just about looking through the records, which by the way, Lincoln, Nebraska loves a couple of things. It's at least according to the Goodwill vinyl and CDs. They love Christmas music.
Yeah.
Right? They love Christian artists.
That is true.
They love former American Idol artists.
That is really up there. That's strangely high on the list.
They love them some Scotty McCreery. There's 18 Clay Aiken CDs in every Goodwill in Lincoln.
How about Brian Olsen? Is he all over there? He's a former X guy or the Bliss guy.
Yeah, he's too new. I mean, it was like early era. I mean, these are I mean, they're boomers.
Were you getting Philip Phillips? Was that all over the place?
I think that might even be. It was the first. It was like everyone. No one will believe this if they're not the right age, but like everyone watched American Idol in the first few years. Kelly Clarkson year, the Carrie Underwood years,
Jordan Sparks.
Jordan Sparks. I know I can like rattle off quite a few of the like winners, like their World Series. You know.
Do you remember the girl named Pia something? She was like a really she didn't win. She came in like third, but
everybody was too new
when she got eliminated.
I think my last year, Philip Phillips year was probably my last. But man, how about that Fantasia year? You said J Hud off with fourth place. She's got a freaking EGOT. You said J Hud off. I was pissed in the moment, and I feel so vindicated. Like I feel so vindicated about that.
You very argued. You called the moment. You did call that. I mean, you saw talent. Is that up there with one of your biggest non-sport losses? Do you have losses you've suffered in reality TV that you've just it's really struck you? Do you have anything other than that? You're not really a reality TV guy.
Everybody was though for a few years. Like the first year of Survivor, I haven't watched Survivor since the George W. Bush administration. But like Richard Hatch winning Survivor, man, like I still remember those tribal councils. Sure. I don't think I watch another year after that. Maybe the next year. I'll tell you what. Now, I watch every year of Real World. Now we're probably going back a little further.
I don't know what that is.
That Odson knows what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I will talk Real World with you all day long.
Can I ask you this? Because I don't know if you're aware of this. Do you remember Request Line Live with Tucker? What was his name?
Total Request Live. TRL with Carson Daly.
With Carson Daly. You remember that?
I remember. I mean, I was kind of out of the prime demographic for that, but I do remember it. Yeah. But I've always been a little,
Yeah. I had no idea Carson Daly was the dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I had no idea. I thought he was just on The Voice. I didn't know that
he was a teen idol. He was he was a big deal.
That guy dated. I mean, his lineup is comparable to Derek Jeter in terms of the women that he was able to court. It's quite incredible to find out live on the radio. You now have me, by the way, doing this family tree thing, and I now want to figure out, like, am I related to anybody who was ever on The Big Bang Theory? You know, like I'm like really dialed in to find out.
You're probably related to Sheldon. That sounds right.
I mean, man,
I can see it.
Jim Parsons and I kind of look alike.
Yeah, it probably would have been. Yeah, I mean, I can see
both
it.
very Caucasian with bushy eyebrows. I mean, I might be related to Fernando Mendoza. I mean, him and I look eerily. Fernando Mendoza looks like a hot Matt McMaster.
What's his? Where are his? Where are his ancestors
Cuba.
from?
Oh, Cuba. He is Cuban.
Oh, they're okay. They're cute. Okay, they are.
He is the most. And by the way, too, he is like the most Cuban American looking Cuban American I've ever seen.
You know, I've told you this. I can say this. We're friends. Like when I first met you, I thought, first of all, you're from the Chicago area, and you've got some Cuban ancestry. I thought you were like New York and Italian, is what I thought.
I get that a lot.
I told you this before.
I get that so much.
What's the deal with that?
I think it's how I talk. My accent has been influenced by a couple of things. Number one, I just have a lisp. That's just number one.
I don't think that's it. It's more about your case. I don't think it's that.
So let me get there. That's number one is the lisp. Number two is Chicago accent, right? I mean, it's just kind of.
You don't sound like you. I know what a Chicago accent is. You don't. You have a.
If I went like this, like hot dag and a sausage, and I was working on my carburetor, right? And I am the boy, like it's not like that.
Chicago.
I always go back. I mean, the one stereotypical way I go back is I think of the Bears guys.
George. Yeah. Here's the main one, Jack. Here's why I sound Italian. Okay.
Did you see how you just said Italian? You know.
I know.
You just did it.
I know.
You do that's okay. Go ahead.
I did it on purpose. The reason why I can sound like that sometimes is it's the hockey thing. Like that's just kind of how we talk. Like we would joke around and talk a certain way, and like hockey players had a very specific way of speaking and saying words. And so in like hockey slang, like that was a legitimate thing growing up. It kind of affected my speech patterns. And so if I'm like really like rattling off words, I kind of say it with a bit of a twang that ended up sounding Italian, you know?
Yeah. It's not even, but it's New York is what it is. It's like you just said it there. You said off instead of off. You said off.
Yeah,
that's not Chicago. That's New York.
No. I think it's just a lot of the media that I like grew up watching, and then also just playing that sport. You just kind of talked a certain way. You know, you just said some things to say some things. And when you communicated with your buddies, it just turned into how you talk.
I mean, I get a guy from Chicago. I kind of want a Chicago accent. That's just me.
You don't think I have a Chicago accent though? I have a pretty tough Chicago accent.
You got your hard A's there that you were saying there, or whatever.
I mean, I guess when I'm very self-aware of it, I can go in and out of things. You know, like if you tell me that you thought I was Italian, I'm going to start talking.
I want you to start asking. I want you do this for me for the next.
Okay, I'll do this. I'll do
when you're out, when you meet people. When you meet people out, whatever you do socially, and you meet people out that you don't know, and you're very social. Like I'm sure you meet and strike up conversations with a lot of people. Like before you get to like where you're from and everything, just be like, hey, if you had to guess where I'm from based on how I talk,
Jack, I don't have to do that. I'm going to tell you right now. Everybody thinks I'm Italian. That is,
so what part of the United States? Ask them though. That's which is very. Much connected to New York.
I don't know. I very rarely. The New York thing is pretty unique to you. I haven't really had too many people say that I'm from New York or I'm a New York guy. But the Italian thing, almost always, I never get no. I'll tell you this right now. Nobody's ever looked at me and said you're Cuban.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's ever looked at me and said you look like a
and Cuban. You know what? This is not a joke. The time I finally believed it, Matt sang the entirety of Feliz Navidad during Request Line Friday, which is what you were trying to say earlier. It was Request Line Friday. You sang the entirety of my Friday show. You sang the entirety with like a lot of gusto. And I was like, yeah, that guy. Yeah, this guy is not one of us.
Wish you a Merry Christmas. That's how they sing it, by the way. A little Spanglish accent.
No, I know you. I mean, you did not. It was not the way that a Dutch person would sing that song, right?
It's not a way that Caucasian Jack Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean, I might. I'm kind of an exception, but I mean, it was pretty clear then.
You definitely do have a little bit. I mean, you are a performer. You are a very, very good performer. I give you that. I mean, if anything, how about this? If I'm going to be elected to ever be on Jack Mitchell's tree, I would say that the one way that I would be elected onto your tree would be I have taken some of your gusto. I have studied how you act, and I study how you perform for people because I was around you so much. And I think unconsciously, I think some of the performative things that you have done have kind of bled their way into me. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. I'm proud to be
most of my tree's pretty boring people otherwise. So it's good. I'm glad. Like, I mean, no offense, but
Yeah. Who's also on your tree? I mean, your son's not boring. Your son's pretty awesome.
No, he's. I mean, on my radio tree.
On your radio tree, who would be on your radio? Caleb.
I mean, there's a Caleb line. There's the Bishop line. There is the. Let's see who else. Who else that people would know.
I think I would say that like my parents would be, if I had a broadcasting family tree, my parents would be Jack Mitchell and Michael Severe. That's what I would
Interesting. Say. And we do love each other like a loving couple.
You do.
Michael's listening right now. I know, because he texted me earlier.
You Hi, two Michael. Would be my two dads, my two radio fathers.
Dude, that's what when Michael and I eventually start the podcast that that everyone wants and they think they're never going to get. I like my two dads.
My two dads. It'd be a great podcast thing. That's what it would be.
Yeah. Now talk about. I mean, he'll tell you this before I will. Talk about a guy who he and I. It'd be fun to try and find anything he and I like have in common. Actually, I know there's a couple of things we do. Actually, one of the things we talk about we do, but very very.
Do you have a dislike for the Big Ten? I've never asked this. This is a serious question. Do you have a dislike for the Big Ten? Okay.
I mean, that's strong. I have a lot of. You know what I have my complaints about the Big Ten. I don't like how it seems like it. One thing I don't like about them, Matt, I have never seen. There's no entity in America, sports or otherwise, who could do a worse job picking out formats of a baseball tournament. I'll tell you that much.
It's a great point.
Last year, I was baffled. I was baffled that was real life last year.
I also, if we really want to get on that, I've never been more baffled by a conference that actually has good baseball teams that refuses to broadcast those good baseball teams. That's another one too. They just never have baseball on the Big Ten Network, or at least the good baseball.
Yeah, and then I got annoyed, the Big Ten Network. I mean, like how many Northwestern documents? No offense, but like how many?
Okay, but come on, no, but that was a really good story. Derek Pardon and Bryant McIntosh. Hey, how do you feel that Coach Boyfriend?
I've seen the amount I've turned on the Big Ten Network to watch what I thought was a live game and seen Pat Fitzgerald playing USC is way too many. Like, I swear, they still run that thing, but they're running. It's either the game or the documentary. Like, I can tell you entire drives in detail of that game because I've accidentally watched it so much.
That's incredible. Have they made do you have a favorite Big Ten Nebraska documentary that you can harken back to? That's a great niche question.
Let's see, a Big Ten Nebraska documentary.
They made one on Casey, right? They did a Casey thing.
Yeah, it might have just been a mini documentary.
Yeah, mini doc. I don't know if they've done a full doc.
The only I know
the Memorial Stadium volleyball game. Didn't they do a full thing on that?
Did Big Ten Network do that? Yeah. I never know who makes them. I don't know where I watch things anymore.
It's on Big Ten Plus, $13.99 a month.
Holy cow! And let me tell you. You better have a lot of patience if you're going to log into Big Ten Plus. Because you could get into my bank account and steal all my money more easily than you could my Big Ten Plus account if you're trying to steal my identity.
Two-factor authentication. Are you not a two-factor authentication guy?
It's not just that. It is. I mean, first of all, I'm usually doing it on my Roku. Okay, and so I got to do the boop with the single arrow J A. C, and then I accidentally do a wrong letter.
That's not your email.
Jack. Yeah, Jack M at yes, Jack M.
You're Jack M.
Well, I might work. I mean, not the one I put in on there.
Sure.
Not the one I put in there, but
I canceled mine. I canceled my Big Ten Plus.
You finally had enough. Here's
I
the
was
thing.
done. 2 years, 2.5 years, Jack. About multiple hundreds of dollars into Big Ten Plus. I was done.
Here's why I can't do that. Sports has become the one thing in my family that and especially when Johnny lived at home, like there were so few things in a family of four like that, where he's a decent amount older than his sister, that all four of us can agree on, like for anything, like any activity, any meal, but four of us to watch something on TV, and sports is basically it. Like I've pulled my wife into becoming a Husker sports fan. She's an Iowan, but she bleeds Husker red now. Like she's sort of like surprisingly intense about it, which is very exciting. And so that's it. Like any Husker sport, everybody will sit down and watch. So that's what we do.
You have great stories about how like your daughter would go to school and her teachers would be like, yeah, the Huskers lost. And your daughter would be like, no, the volleyball team won. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, yes, that's right. After there was I can't remember, there was a weekend a few years ago, and there was like the teacher was like, "Is everyone down? The Huskers lost again." And my daughter said, "What? The volleyball team won." Yeah, she is a like. But by the way, Johnny, my daughter Nora is way more like me. She is way more like me. Like
I met Nora a couple times. I could see it. I could definitely, because she's obviously when I met her, she was way more quiet and way more shy. But I could see it deep down in there that, she probably freaks out.
At least
about
as a sports fan,
which is awesome.
Yeah, she is like me. She is very much like me as a sports
Johnny
fan.
is too, though. Johnny and you know how to celebrate. I'll give you two that. When the Huskers win,
true,
you guys roll out the red carpet. You guys.
That's right.
You guys, that's incredible.
That's right.
Yeah. This was fun. This was great.
Are we done already? All right.
I mean, we went 21 minutes. That's a lot. That's a long segment.
Time flies when you're providing solid content. That's what happens. The hallmark, a hallmark of 1620 The Zone.
Well, I will say this: it's always great talking to one of my radio dads. It's always great to reconnect and talk to the pedigree.
It's always weird having someone on the radio who is my son's friend. That's odd.
Am I the first one?
Yeah, Matt. I don't know if you know this, but not many 20-whatever-year-olds get their own radio show.
I'm 24. A guy on the radio or on Twitter yesterday called me a 23-year-old hack, and I was like, Matt, I'm actually 24.
Matt, by the way, I didn't do my first radio show until 2006. I was 29, so I'm still 5 years older than you are now, and I did first cracked a mic.
By the way, real quick, I cannot believe I buried this. You weren't on Twitter for the last couple of days, right? And then you walked into what you walked into this morning?
It wasn't that I wasn't on it. I just tried to consciously, for my own mental health, be a little less reliant on not only just reading, but more engaging those who disagree with me. It turns out that's not a highly productive or healthy thing to do, as much as I did, for the last decade or so.
That's a good point. You've built a brand off that, to be fair. And you're very good at it, more than anything.
Yeah.
So, just, dip your toe in it.
Well,
dip your toe in it. Everything in moderation.
I got back into it a little bit. I got back, and let me tell you one thing. I'll end on this. And I did get back into a little bit today, but I just am so glad that finally people have been listening to what I said. In that, because the worst, if you've got someone in radio who is pissing you off and you want to get them where it hurts, right? The one thing you got to make sure and do is make them the main character of Twitter for an entire day and talk about them constantly. You will nail it. That's how they'll feel the pain. I know that being in radio. Yep.
That is true. Jack Mitchell, you know a lot of things from being in radio and just being you. Thank you for introducing us to the family tree. I cannot wait to find out what Spanish conquistador I was once related to.
You're probably Dutch. We're probably related.
I'm not Dutch. Look at me. Do I look Dutch?
I mean, I don't know.
See, I went Italian accent there for you that time just to play into it.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I'll see you.
Bye.
You're the man. Bye-bye. Is he frozen? By the way, he's been frozen on my screen the entire time, so I don't know if I've been looking.
Charge your laptop.
No, my laptop is charged. This thing just gets frozen. It just crashes. It's ridiculous. But that was great. That was fun. Great guest, Josh. Phenomenal.
We appreciate Jack helping us out.
I tried getting out 5 minutes ago. The guy, it's so hard to get out an interview with that guy.
He's in the green room. He can hear you.
He's the best. He's very thankful to have him in my career. Coming up next, I'm going to keep bitching and moaning about stuff. That's just what this day is. That's just
Okay.
the theme of the show. Just a lot of bitching and a lot of moaning. I cannot wait. Here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network. Hey, don't forget to go to 1620thezone.com to enter to win the following contest. We have a lot on the table for you, people. You want to go to Burt Kreischer in December. You want to go to Chris Stapleton in October, the Young Giant in August. The Black Keys will be in the Astro on the 20th. Yachtly Crew will be at the Steelhouse on June 23rd, and George Thorogood and the Destroyers just a couple of weeks away, May 17th, also at the Astro. You can go ahead and enter at 1620thezone.com for your chance to potentially win your way to one of those concerts/comedy concerts. Real quick, while we were talking to Mr. Jack Mitchell of KLIN, we had a commitment in college sports, in college football. Okay. This guy actually, he's a defensive end out of, let's see where this young man, where he's from. He's from California. He chose UCLA. Bob Chesney, the rainbow for UCLA, the shining light for the Bruins.
That's right.
That's what somebody described him as in Scott Docterman's article today.
Scott Docterman on USC later today.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Hell of a get. This young man chose UCLA over a plethora of schools, including Arizona State, Stanford, Florida State, and Nebraska. His name already All-American name in college football already.
Oh?
God's Choice Bowden.
Sign me up.
His name's God's Choice. Godschoice.
Okay.
Bowden. God's Choice Bowden. Incredible stuff. I would never what do you nickname him? God?
That doesn't feel like the play.
It doesn't feel like the play at all. He probably just goes by G.
Okay. Yeah, G.
G, you can do G. That's the one thing. There are certain names that you can't do that with. Now you don't seem like the guy who would like it, but I could call you J.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna call me M?
Damon Benning calls me a nickname that starts with J.
J-O?
Yeah.
Damon Benning calls me McDingling.
He does. And it's growing on you.
I mean, out of all the Mick names, that one is definitely the most childish by far. I mean, it's like if somebody called me McDuty or like McPee or McPoo-Poo or...
Okay, so I'm going to stop you right there because people are going to use all of these that you list. So...
This is, by the way, can I stop you right there?
Mm-hmm.
This is my whole life. I'm aware. All right. This isn't new. All right. This isn't breaking news that, hey, people are going to call you that.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I've lived it my whole life. So, yes, McDingling is absolutely ridiculous. But McDingling not on all-team first ballot college football list. God's Choice Bowden. Is real quick, Pete Nakos article dropped earlier in the day discussing our favorite topic, how much we're spending on teams. Are we officially at the point? How many times can we write this article?
It's a lot.
Let's be
okay,
real.
let's move on.
Let's be real. How many times can we write the I've had a Big Ten coach tell me that rosters are up to about 35 million.
Yep.
One SEC executive has reported to me that this quarterback is making upwards of $4 million. How many times can we write it? We've written it so many times. We have done the same On3 article over and over and over again about, yes, rising costs, salary caps increase every year. Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Millions of people suffer. Every year the price goes up. But it is such a common saying. This year's price is not last year's price.
What happened to the sport I love?
Right? By the way, did you think that college basketball numbers and the NCAA ratings and all that type of stuff was going to skyrocket and teams weren't going to be encouraged? Could be like, hey, the sport's never been more popular. We should invest more money into it. What do you I thought you were going to do a bit. I was really entertained.
No, my chair just kept lowering slowly and slowly.
Do you know, it sucks hosting after Michael Severe.
Felt like Jim Rose sitting on the floor.
You know, because Michael, for whatever reason, like, sits so high up in his seat. Like, his seat is literally level to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so frustrating to, like, sit back down. I feel like I'm in a booster chair after I host after Michael Severe. But yeah, so there's another Pete Nako's article. It's titled, College Basketball's $20 million roster era, inside the biggest portal spenders of the transfer portal. Rick Barnes in Tennessee is up there. Sean Miller of Texas is up there. Pat Kelsey of Louisville is mentioned in this as well. All of those teams that I have mentioned spent a lot of money on players and have had really good transfer portals. I don't think I've ever been on more of an opposite side when it comes to how Connor Happer feels about Pat Kelsey and how I feel about Pat Kelsey.
Yeah, you guys are on opposite ends.
I like him. I think he's a really good coach. I think he's going to do some really good things this year, but I feel like it's angling more so for Connor to be right, because I honestly think if we sat down and we went back and we wrote down the teams that were reportedly spending a ton of money in the portal, I think more oftentimes than not, it's disappointment.
Yeah, there's no way that he gets fans that ROI, quote unquote, that they're always clamoring for, that isn't a real thing.
Shafe brought it up. There definitely is the double-edged sword of your team spending gobsmacks of money. Because if my team spent the most, I have never rooted for a team that has spent the most money in a league. I have never done that before. I've never had the honor of my team spent the most money out of anybody this season. I guarantee you if Nebraska basketball or Nebraska football was spending the most money in a given year on their team, it'd be very hard for me to be satisfied, because you're like, they would win, and you go, well, yeah, they're supposed to. I mean, yeah, that big win. They spent $30 million on the team. What, you want me to get excited? You know how much money we're paying these guys? You know? It's a little bit like the New York Mets in a way. It's like if I was a Mets fan, I'd be like, yeah, we're supposed to win. We've paid all these players more money than God.
But they
never
do win, Matt.
Isn't it great?
It's terrific.
Isn't it awesome? God, if the Knicks somehow win the NBA title, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it. I will be so pissed. At this point, we're all in agreement that it's Spurs versus OKC, or OKC versus the winner of Minnesota, San Antonio is NBA Finals, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Western Conference Finals is the finals.
I think that if we all just acknowledge that and we really delve into it, we'll enjoy it more.
It's why I really can't, like, you're like, oh, if the Knicks win it all, I'm just going to lose my mind. Like, I can't even entertain it as an idea.
By the way,
I think they probably will get to the finals.
Yuck.
And I still, like, I don't have to entertain it as an idea.
God, can you imagine a Cleveland, Oklahoma City final?
Whoa.
David Stern would never.
Adam Silver would have to, like,
Mr. Stern would be
on a watch. Like, hey, we got to watch out for this guy.
Rolling in his grave if OKC took on Cleveland in the final.
You got to get the refs in there, and you got to have them get one team out.
I think David Stern would find a way to get the Lakers to the Eastern Conference if he was currently the commissioner. I think that's what he would do. No, we're going to have a play in the East. That way we can actually pop a rating. Yeah. Real quick, teams in the $10 to $15 million range: Indiana, North Carolina, Miami, Arizona, Houston, UConn, South Carolina.
Wow, there's a very wide range of wins and loss record in that group.
Very. Literally two teams that were, one team that was out of the tournament, and then other teams that are in the Final Four. So there you go. By the way, John Blackwell's deal, $4 million. Thought it'd be more for him to go from Wisconsin to Duke, but it's the state of Wisconsin sports right now. It seems like that happens a lot. We're just more expensive guys. Let's go elsewhere. All right, coming up next, we tell you what to watch tonight and our dog of the day. Man, can't wait for the crossover. It's going to be something.
Shouldn't be a dumpster fire at all.
Your main event of the evening. Some people are I'll actually leave that for the crossover. We'll leave it all. It's going to be a very good time. What are we watching tonight, Josh?
Watching the NBA playoffs, Sixers Knicks 6 o'clock on ESPN. Knicks lead 1-0. No Joel Embiid tonight for Philly. Wolves Spurs game 2. Minnesota with a surprising 1-0 lead. 8:30 on ESPN. Hockey tonight on TNT. Canadiens against the Sabres 6 o'clock in that game 1 of the Eastern Conference semis there. And then Ducks Knights 8:30. Vegas leads that 1-0. Rangers Yankees tonight on MLB Network at 6 o'clock, and on Netflix the documentary for the very real, very legitimate Ronda Rousey Gina Carano fight Countdown premieres.
What, you don't think it's going to happen?
No, I think it's going to happen. I feel it feels very close to a sham.
Oh, I mean, yeah. You're going there for high quality fighting. I don't think you're going to get it. It's probably the nicest way.
They'll put on a good show. It'll be fine.
It'll be good. Ronda Rousey from Entourage of the movie.
That's right. From one of those Fast and Furious movies.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe Gina Carano was in the Fast and Furious movie. Were they both in Fast and Furious movies?
I think they both were, yeah.
Wow, they really like getting women MMA fighters and pro wrestlers to be in those movies.
That's
do. Their slant.
Well,
all right, folks, let's talk right now. I'm going to kill your bookmaker. I'm going to rip his throat out. I will blow this man out. I will step on his throat until the man chokes. Let me tell you how. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. I'm on a roll.
Dude, you got to love dogs, right?
All right, we got to switch it up. We're going to a new sport.
Whoa.
Soccer.
Oh, okay.
Paris Saint-Germain.
This feels desperate.
Takes on Bayern Munich in the UEFA Champions League semifinal. One of my favorite players of all time, Harry Kane, plays for Bayern Munich. We're going to bet him plus 320 to score 2
Bad
goals.
Takes Doug ask you to start talking?
We got to get a new mojo. Okay. We got to get something else going.
Okay.
You got to get him off your rhythm. Say J.J. Bittenbinder, child detective. Everybody remembers that. It's a John Mulaney reference.
Okay.
From Kid Gorgeous. Great comedy special.
That is a good special.
You should watch that one. Harry Kane to score 2 goals today at 2 o'clock against Paris Saint-Germain. Should be a good one that no one will be watching. Alrighty, Josh Hodson.
Matt McMaster.
This was a fun show. We had a great time today. We talked about positivity. We talked about negativity. We got a lot of bitching and moaning out of the way. Tomorrow will be just as fun. The crossover in USC is coming up next.